All right. We're ready. We're here. Hello, everyone. Virgil was in fact first. Virgil has been a moderator for 3 years. Only 3? That's insane. I, did some changes, some updates with the Lore Tuesday profile on my Twitch, so we'll hope that things work well. If they don't, then I'll fix it. I'm also working on special, rewards like the, what's it called? Points, channel point reward things. I haven't finished making them yet. I also need, if anyone wants to, let me put this, it's kind of hard to see over the...
Frey, I am actively typing an email at work, but the SMP grind never stops.
Finish your email!
Emoji, flexed biceps emoji,
Flexed biceps emoji. Flexed biceps emoji. Well, thank you for the 30 months. I don't know how old our child is by now, like, almost 2 years old or something. But yeah, I haven't finished making them yet. Also, if anyone that wants to volunteer to make more characters for the Crane game, be my guest. We need one of Friedrich to replace Marcelo. Rip Marcelo. Rest in peace, question mark. We need one to replace Okul. Also, rest in peace. Maybe less peace than Marcelo. We need one to replace Eclipse. Rest in mist. I can't even say rest in pieces, because, yeah. We can make one of Hunter for this season. Marcelo... Marcelo died! Oh, spoilers. Is my... Okay, good. My stream is fine. All the other rewards, okay, the only rewards I have are bonk and head pats for now. Rest in goop. Rest in goop is crazy. Rest in goop. Well, I'm going to be starting with the, Lore Sheets channel first, and then we will move on. I also, okay, I got a new curtain for my background, and it was supposed to be this beautiful bright pink, but it looks so pale and awful. Tell me what you think of it when I show it to you. I kind of want to put, like, little fairy lights or something was, Cece's idea, but it kind of looks bad, and I need advice on what to do with it, because do I return it? Do I keep it and try to make it look better? I did order myself a Soul Pact Union flag that will be hanging behind me, but it'll take a month to get here. Yeah, let me scroll up to Lore Sheets before I head on over. My lore helpers. If you have not gone through Lore Sheets and Lore Tuesday and reviewed things, hurry it up. I approach quickly. Where's my Forg? I know we are Forgless for now. I'm making new things, don't worry. I'll have something that's similar to Forg, but SMP related. I changed the name of the server from Smile Freya's Spaceship to the Smile SMP today. I also changed the banner. If you haven't seen it already, it's pretty cool. I know, our job application jump scare. I just have the simple stuff today. I promise I'll spend the rest of the day making things to put on stream. If you have ideas, ping me in either DM me or ping me in SMP General or any channel, honestly. Ping me in the wiki channel. I don't care. Make a ticket. Don't make a ticket. Just kidding. I know it's not called the Spaceship anymore. Eventually, I think maybe after the next season ends, I might change it back. We'll see. Just right now, like, this is only used... It used to be, like, my streaming server, but, like, I don't stream that much anymore. Just Lore Tuesday. I mean, I would prefer if they're related to server. If you have great ideas about burgers, though, like, go for it. Maybe we can make it related. But yeah. Here we go! Ta-da! Oh, someone's still using the crane. I'm so sorry. But you see what I mean about it's kind of like a beige color on the camera. This is not a very good curtain. This is not very pink. Compared to the pink up here, it's not pink at all. The Discord doesn't work. Oh, because it's at Smile Freya. Hold on. I can change it. Let me fix it. Hang on. Stream Elements. It's Stream Elements, right? Yeah, it's the Stream Elements spot. Chatbot. Chat commands. Custom commands. Discord. Discord. Smile. SMP. Save. Okay. That is fixed now. It will work. Evan the Goat 500 has spent 0 seconds watching Smile Freya. Yeah, the curtain's really light. I'm kind of mad about it, but like, I need opinions. Do I keep it in, because I feel like fairy lights would look kind of cute in it. Or do I return it and try to get one that's like, because in person it's very pink. But I think it's just the lighting. Maybe I get better lighting. Yeah. Also, hold on. I think I need to zoom in one more. No? Oh, really? Did I only zoom in this much? Oh, well. Is this might be too small for people to read. Hold on. I need to make a possible adjustment. I should get planet decorated lights. That would be cool. Let me do this. And then, like, zoom this in more. Hold on. I definitely tested this before changing things. Okay. This should be better now. You should be able to actually, like, read it. Okay, the problem is there's this, which I don't like. Okay, we'll live with it for now, maybe? Or what if I do... Oh, you know what hold on. Undoing all of that. I think what I need to do is do this. Aha! That's all I needed to do. Doesn't matter. Okay. Here we go. We have lore sheets first. We have a lot of lore sheets to go through. Who is sending me friend requests at this hour? Why are you sending me friends requests? I'm ignoring your friend requests. You can just DM me. I don't think you have to be friends with me to DM me. Fake plants would be cute too. Okay. First one. Aiden for the Smile SMP. And let's see if my filter thing works. Oh god, it doesn't. Oh, it does. It does. It was just already on and I turned it off. Okay, I will say, I know this is the first lore sheet of the season. When you make lore sheets, if you haven't yet, please make them into a format that is a picture that can go in Discord and not a link. Because, Aiden, this is a great lore sheet, but you still kept the example sheet and good and bad lore sheets in the tabs. You don't, it says on the original thing, do not copy and paste this. This is just for your own use. Please make it like this, because it fits so nicely on stream, and everyone can see it, and it doesn't have to be your entire backstory. It just needs to fit, like, brief summary. If you had 30 seconds to tell someone about your character, what would you say? That's all it needs to be. When Freya sees people that want to be friends with her, she explodes. It's true. I do hate friends. I mean, at this hour, it's Lore Tuesday. This is the hour of the Tuesday. This is the Tuesday hour. All right, we have Aiden, Micah. Backstory, he picked up the transmission from his ship and found the plant. It's a big plant. Internal conflict, too logical and gets anger at anything illogical. External conflict, robotic body parts. No relationships. That's fine. You can make new friends. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna sneeze. It was not a sneeze. It was a false alarm. I just thought that I would be making a weird face for a while. Okay. We have Freya. Creator and crossed out, leader of Solace. Devastated by the loss of her closest friend and boyfriend Marcelo, Freya must navigate her grief alone. With the threat of Echo still on the horizon, Solace's populace hesitant to trust her, Freya must rely on her friends, including an old friend of Marcelo's, Admiral Penelope Friedrich. And the bead in her hair is a gift from Comet, worn as a way to remember Marcelo. See, that's all you need to do. Just a brief, like, hey, here's the conflict, here's, you know, what's going on with my character. And then we have Art of Aiden. See, this is more what I'm talking about. It doesn't have to be like, this is more of like a character reference that you put in like the character reference sheet channel. But like a mix between these two is what we're looking for. My secondary character we don't have to talk about right now. If you're curious about her, she is the therapist character this season. If your character needs counseling, she's the one to go to. But I'm not focusing on her as much, so I'm going to just skip that. Yeah, Lore Sheet should be an introduction to your character, not the first Lore Tuesday post, which can be your backstory and everything. Also, if you're writing a Lore Tuesday post right now, I cut it off at the time that the stream starts, so anything posted after 4 p.m. my time, I will be saving until next week. So if you're writing right now, like, oh my gosh, I have to get it in right now, too late. You can still post it today if you want, but you have time. Wait until next week. CJ, we have Croy and Kron, my favorites. My name is Croy Forgemail. I'm the spirit of the centaur Servitor. I don't know why I said centaur. Once known as Alfie. I arrived on this planet after a falling sun crushed my planet, sending me and the parasite within my body on course to Solace, encased in the earth. A string of events later, I rid the parasite from my body while ridding my own soul with it. From this, it created my son, Kron. Now I stand as head of the fortress of Kindlegrim, or just Kindlegrim, defending those who want it. Defending my family and my friends in a home that is what Solace was always meant to be, a safe haven. Unless someone has the ability to see spirits, no one can see me. I have to enter their mind to adjust their senses to sense me. This does not apply to some robotic Salacians or Salacians without a physical brain, like Freya! I can create forms with the tar from my body, from people to platforms to tools. Things have shifted, but some threats still remain. To my child, to my family. Will my hand be forced, or will it end in a tense peace as done before? We have the Kindlegrim flag. Kron designed it. I'm very proud of them. Oh. I wield the Hammer of Forges, a warhammer once owned by Havoc Forgemail. It was passed down to me. This is my appearance. Green jumper with yellow eye design, brown shorts, black antlers, deer ears, black and red armor, pale skin, gaping holes for eye and mouth, black tar covering half of face, dark brown hair, plaited. And we have Kron. Hello, my name is Kron, and this is my new journal because the older ones got wrecked. Starting new isn't bad, though. They were messy anyway. I came to be from the roots of a red tree in the forests of Kindlegrim, where I met many people, but most notable my dad, Croy. We both had our ups and downs, but now we both are sticking together with the rest of our family. This is what I look like. I'm part of the Kindlegrim faction, my dad now being the head of it. Here's our flag. I designed it myself. Dad made it look nicer, though. My native tongue is Gaelga, or Irish, but I'm getting better at speaking English. Did they write all of this in English? If so, I'm so proud of them. Though I still struggle. I have a job as a general historian in SUNC, which is run by Mr. Tank Waters. You might see me talking to myself sometimes. Most of the time I'm just talking to my dad. He hasn't made himself noticeable to you yet. I don't know where Solace will go now after everything that has happened, but I know that we need strength. I'll get up there where everyone else is, or my family. I'll get big and I'll get smarter so I can protect them like they've done me. Aw, I love Kron. What does this mean down here? When I zoom in, I can't see it. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. What does it mean, though? They did! Kron is so... I'm so proud! Maybe... Hold on. I can probably move this up a bit so that when I zoom in... No, well, it's fine. Oh, there's the pin that... Is this the pin? Oh, that's so sweet. We have Balios. Balios Bloodhound. Balios was from... Didn't Balios have a different last name before? I could have sworn. Balios was from the planet Finda. It looked like a beautiful planet, but it wasn't. It was filled with war and bloodshed. He went through a lot just to survive that planet. His mother and father were maniacs, and his ex-lover was similar. He killed his loved ones to try and find peace, though it didn't help. And the Great Anomaly wiping out most of his planet especially didn't calm his mind. When he first came to Solace, he was silent, but a good person. Then one bad trip led him to an unfortunate end. Luckily, or unluckily, he was revived partly. He ended up acting like his father, but got through that by finding pieces of memories once lost. Now he is a man blinded by his selfishness, literally. His goal is to one day make up for the pain he has and will cause. Make up for pain in advance? That's crazy. Also, Virgil, could you bring me a water bottle? Thank you. We have Zephyr Thunderguard. No, you didn't mismatch Palmia, don't worry. Zephyr was born on the planet Finda, though his life was much different. It was full of lies and betrayal, corrupted kingdoms, and knowledge of gods. He had lost his only friend and his wife due to his insanity, and when the Great Anomaly hit, he was alone, walking around with their gems as a reminder of his mistakes. And then the lesser god helped him, got him on his feet, and taught him things no other mortal would. Now on Solace, he has a one-track mind to kill his enemy, Balios. The reason is because of his own mistake of letting a primordial try and kill a god who is liked by some, but Zephyr blames only Balios for their deaths. Thank you. And now he has a weapon to kill him forever, leaving no afterlife. He wants him dead and mocked for his worthless life. Balios has no care about Zephyr. All right. Enemies. We have something very hard to read. You know what? I see now why I made this a little bit wider, so that we could actually read the whole thing. There we go. I think that'll be fine. It's like a little bit of this side, but it's okay, as long as we can read all of this. Jeremy Relord. Axolotl hybrid, one of the few living beings left from his planet. He's come to cheer up the saddened folks of Solace. He entered a ship after the Great Anomaly to go find other sentient life. He then heard about Solace and decided to do what a performer does best, entertain. He's from a planet named Hotoria, about 12 days by ship away from Solace. Everyone there is an animal-human hybrid of sorts, like how Jeremy is an axolotl. Jeremy is just about always in a suit with gloves on and no shoes nor socks on. While the color of design may change, his dapperness does not falter. While being a magician and entertainer in his main hustle, don't be fooled. He's going to be the Fish King. He also likes to fish, don't think too hard about that one. Fun fact, his eyes, palms, bottom, feet, mouth, and blood glow a light blue. He has a tendency to put whimsy and joy over his own well-being. I always get a little stuffy when reading, sorry. We have Oliver! Oliver came to Solace after fleeing his home planet. He just wanted somewhere safe to lay low, but found a family here instead. I'm not sure what happened after I drank that potion, but somehow I feel better than I ever have. Like everything will be okay. It's a good potion, I guess. We have Rin Asvale. I try to just read the big things because sorry, clarifying. All of the, like, you know, details, like how tall they are and how old they are, whatever, I will skip just because I want to get through all these as quickly as possible. It's probably going to be like a 4-hour stream as it is. I never wanted to arrive alone. I traveled with Neg and Emo, but Neg tried to hurt me and Emo got hurt. Neg is also on Solace, and I'm scared that they'll find me and try to hurt me again. I hope I can make new friends. Already made at least one new friend. They're called Lynx. I want to find a new cave to live in and call my home. I also went exploring a bit ago and found this cool cloak thing near the big burnt building with the tree. It has weird flowers on it and looked like all pixely when I found it. I also found a square thingy. I think it's called a USB drive. USB? That's like 500, that's an artifact. That's 500 years old. Oh, this is cool down here. Normal vision versus Rin's vision. Lucky! After the Great Anomaly and ending up on Solace, Lucky wanted to live the rest of her life alone. Her plans were spoiled quickly as others changed her mind to now want to help other residents of Solace as much as she can, even if she ends up being a bit too honest about their flaws. I love seeing everyone's art progress too. Lucky has always been a fantastic artist, but like it's gotten so like you've nailed down your art style and like your Like, the lines are so clean and everything. Zinnia! Demetarian. I thought that's a dimension. Or dementiarian. Like you're from a place with dementia. A Dementarian. Demetarian clone with echokinesis and too much heart. After coming to terms with her identity and putting her plans of cloning on hold, Zinnia focuses on spreading joy across Solace. She joins the Peacekeepers to use her abilities for good. A safe Solace is a happy Solace after all. You can count on me. John Angler. John Angler, a master of magic and water, was cursed with immortality after being tested on by a malicious wizard named Merlin for an experiment called Fourth Horseman Project. John arrived in Solace after wishing on a star, after his world fell to ruin and failing to find his daughter Rose, after the Snatch took almost everyone on his planet, including her. John continues to hopelessly hold a promise to his master, Pandora, a high elf who taught him the magic he uses today, who asked him to teach the next generation of high elves magic, who were eradicated in a dragon attack before he could uphold his promise. I love Zinnia too. With so much angst on the server, we have to have someone just so pure and happy. Benjamin, a very amateur artist and writer, possibly cosmic horror, who has a passion for the paranormal and the unusual. He's Hispanic, very tan, possibly has been sunburned more than once, and is a bit chubby but has some muscle. He changed outfits on occasion, each one has his own story, usually on the spot. Always has the amulet necklace on his person. The gem seems to change colors more than usually. Reason for being here. I thought we were going to Ireland. You're a far, far away from Ireland, I'll tell you that. We have Trigal. Trigal was born to a wealthy human home. Then the great anomaly took everything from her. Her family, her fortune, her future. She believed that her brother might still live and sought him out on Solace, but he had been cold, just like everyone else. For the last 2 years, a demon has been pushing at her mind, trying to force her to summon it into this reality. She is fighting a losing battle. Trigal has an idea of how to beat this creature, but it will take everything she has and more. She hopes the people of Solace can help her before it's too late. Trigal keeps an ally feather tucked behind her hair, a memento from someone she lost. Fire. I'm so excited for Trigal lore this season. I'm not sure why when I joined the server I thought for a while that John Angler was a joke character that didn't really exist in the lore. That's funny. I think the name John Angler did start as a joke. Because, you know, Shin fished so much. And then it became this whole character. I think that's how a lot of people's characters start out, is like as a joke, and then they're like, actually, wait, I'm logging in. Light Auroras. The leader of the faction known as Etheria, and an intern nurse at Solace's local hospital. Light seeks to protect those under her care and grant them a place they could find peace. She lost her legs in the crash, trying to get people to evacuate people from the crash area. We have Maunder. This is Astra's character this season. I'm excited. Maunder, no last name, the other. I'm gonna read all of the side things. Doesn't speak English. What do the symbols mean? Arm, what the fuck? Astronaut using a flintlock? Why so many colors? What's under the mask? Note to self, look into long-term status of infected subjects. And infected subjects? Mentions of an other side, possibly other's side? What the hell is a seeker? All gone? If caught in zero gravity, do not engage. What does the bird mean? There's a lot of mystery with this character. Very interesting. Love the design. Excited to see more. We have Astoria Schwann, CEO of a fashion magazine known as Aura. Sorry. I'm 12. Ugh. After the vanishment, she threw herself into work, focusing only on her desire for money and power. When she found out about a newer planet known as Solace, she decided to expand her business there, as well as use it as a fresh start. She lives amongst the clouds, where she runs a home seamstress shop. Likes astronomy, flying, baking, and drinking. Hates messy hair, air pollution, fire, and oranges. Awesome. Mira Archer. And it kind of cuts it off, but whatever. Following Redacted, Miss Archer has been seen wearing a jacket presumed to be from the late Captain Marcello. She now resides near the Peacekeepers' headquarters alongside her husband. She has a cybernetic arm, she's good at shooting, and water manipulation. Love Mira. Angelo Yasin? Angelo runs a farm and an animal rescue center. He was moved out here to help bring back the native populations that were affected by the crash. Old man, father of 2 fur babies. Awesome. We have Gabriel the storyteller. I was once a caretaker of an orphanage, but ever since the great anomaly, they are gone. I made a few mistakes, and now I'm here on Solace. I was on vacation when the impact happened. Now I have to deal with her. I'm good at archery, shape-shifting, storytelling, and looking to dive into some gardening. What is a communication device? I'm not good with those techno-macallit. We have Starry and Connor. Starry is from a planet she calls Hell, is a trickster demon. From what is known about her, she seems to follow whatever her current family unit is and her emotions. What happens when she loses her family unit is left to rely on emotions and whatever new friends she makes. She knows things she probably shouldn't, but she won't tell you because no one asked. Thinks her parent figure hates them, thinks her sibling figure hates her, and their sister figure is left to find her girlfriend. Being left alone in a world where she thinks everyone hates her is disgusted with them. Will call people they like by nicknames, but some people have cruel nicknames. Freya being called Blood Sun only knows what is a normal nickname or a cruel nickname. If she hates your guts, you get your name. Okay. Has 4 pets named after Egyptian deities: Ra, Anubis, Moon, I'm hoping I said that right, and Bastet. Is known to reference random things, is advised to just smile and nod. Questioning the random references will result in them saying more nonsense. Awesome. And then we have Connor. Took a wrong turn while planet hopping, or maybe it was fate. Either way, he's here now and is too lazy to really leave. Won't really talk to people if he doesn't have to. A bleeding heart regardless, and would still help just about anyone if they needed it. Not one to really open up to others, and will often put others above himself. He tends to forget things easily and writes reminders in his notebook. Years of planet hopping really gets to a guy. However, he will randomly lore drop experiences from his travels and proceed to act like nothing happened afterwards. His entire motif is themed after Sonic because he's objectively the coolest character to exist. Someone tell Cam. Will info dump the entire Sonic lore if brought up. Best not to mention it if you don't have a free 2+ hours. Late Captain Marcelo? We should probably get there earlier. Every time I think about the Marcelo event, I can only visualize the wall. Yes. I wanted it to be very shocking. Does anyone else, like, see the moon and they're like, Marcelo, when they're outside? Maybe it's just me. We have Supernova. Nova was a mute star sleeper, so they spent most of their time in their own dreams rather than with their friends and family, making them a different within their family and a weirdo with others. This made Nova distant from everyone. As decades passed by, Nova realized that when the weird stars gone on their mission, everyone waited excitedly for their return. And when they did, they would be greeted with a party. Everyone would become friends with them after. Nova waited excitedly for their turn to go on their mission, but centuries passed and no mission has been called for them. Their parents told them that their family was a late mission calling family and that their time would come, and that they had to be patient. A few hours later, as if a goddess heard their struggle, their star started to descend. They were so excited, wondering what mission they would fulfill, until their star exploded, sending them falling through its flames. Their skin burned as they fell through space until they crashed on a planet. After they crashed, they dusted off the burned layer of skin to reveal a new undamaged layer. Everything healed except the hole on their chest, which couldn't be healed for some reason, which was annoying as it kept leaving a trail of stardust on the ground. As they tried to figure out where they were, they heard some people talking about the explosion in the sky. They looked up to see the explosion with beautiful colors, and as they stared longer, they realized it was the star that exploded. As people kept talking about, I feel like being close enough to see a supernova is worrying. As people kept talking about what it was, one of them said it was a supernova before the group walked away. I like to imagine they're like, holy shit, there's a supernova! Or like, what is that color thing? And then one person's like, it's a supernova. And then everyone walks away. It's like, oh, okay, well. As they left, Supernova really liked that word and decided to use the word supernova as a name. Nova heard that other species have something called a name, so they wanted one too, since star sleepers don't have a name. As Nova wandered around, they saw a tall lady with a white cloth looking at them. Maybe they should approach. You posted the wrong one? Do you read all lore sheets or only the ones from the channel? Oh, you posted in the wrong one? Which one did you post in? Was it the Lorem? You can post in lore sheets. I'll read it. As long as I know that you posted it on time, so you're fine. Akarani Dekatu. Backstory. Arriving on Solace with the relief efforts, she helped construct some small cabins for the lost to find home in. She keeps the memory of the names of the missing. I love the art here. Myth, where do you find these artists that do these commissions? Tell me. I'll read hobbies and interests too, since this was short. Archaeology, historical research and documentation, historical preservation. Also, I see that meme down there. I know this. You posted it in lore sheets? VGen? All right, I'll have to. I've never looked at VGen before. We have Angel and Florian, and then Nettie and Salen. All in a Google Sheets. Let me do this. Hopefully. Okay, the slideshow is going to be too big to see. Do this. There we go. Sorry, it's a little bright. Let me do this. Angel Neoma. Angel came to Solace from a planet called Kiwan over a year ago. He has lost family and friends in that time, those being his sister Susu and his son Onyx. He also lost contact with his brother Croy after one of his deaths and hasn't seen him since. I thought they met. I thought they, met up again. Maybe not. We met Florian at the end of Season 6, who took him into his care. Florian, being a scientist/doctor, helped heal Angel from past physical injuries. He managed to make Angel forget about the bad things in people too, for the sake of keeping Angel safe. For example, Loomis, Susu, Onyx, Croy, and Urillo. This is permanent, though if he does see their faces, they will seem familiar, but he won't remember them at all. Oh my god, the wind of amnesia! Florian Clements. Florian came to Solace from an unknown planet. He spent 25 years in total learning everything he could about absolutely anything medical related. He decided to become a scientist instead, though he had the ability to perform surgeries if needed. Not complicated ones, just routine ones. He wiped Angel's memories of a few people, such as Urillo, Susu, Onyx, and especially Loomis. Due to his capabilities, he managed to figure out a way to get Angel's wings to grow again, except they are a lot smaller than they used to be, and he likely won't be able to fly ever again. He has a daughter named Nettie, too, but she was kidnapped before he came to Solace, and he hasn't seen her since. Here is Nettie. Nettie is Floridian's daughter. Florian's daughter, sorry. Floridian. She was kidnapped when she was young and experimented on by another scientist that Florian worked with, and she became part bunny. My god. Nettie hated the process, hated being away from her dad, but she was alright with being a bunny after the fact. I can handle being turned into a half bunny creature. But being away from my dad, that's where I draw a line. Nettie came to Solace on her own, somehow. Palpatine returned. She doesn't remember how. She talks about her dad a lot to Florian, but since he isn't in his human form anymore, she doesn't recognize him. So therefore, she just thinks he's a kind man who wants to take care of her until her dad comes and finds her and takes care of her again. Oh, I met you, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're creaking in a skulk thing. Salen had left his planet in a cargo ship he snuck into after many years of searching for his mother, who went missing because of the Great Anomaly. The people on this cargo ship had spoken of a place called Solace, deemed a safe haven, which Salen thought their mother could have gone to. After landing, he skittered about the planet in search, running into someone named Florian. Florian said he could attempt to help Salen with the skulk that was covering them. Being in Florian's lab, he met Angel, who he had bonded with during the days he spent in the lab. Since Florian's treatment wasn't working and Angel was pretty much healed, both of them and Angel were let out around the same time. Since the two were both pretty fond of each other, they decided traveling together would be a great decision. All right. Oops. We have Mikal. Upon crash landing on Solace, a deep yellow figure is seen holding what looks to be the body of a dead man. The person holding this dead man has a face that seems neither male nor female, and seems to be bleeding from their head. They seem to be wearing a shirt stained with oil as well. Can shapeshift into one of 5 forms, can gain legs that resemble that of a horse, can grow armor on their arms that resemble beetle shells. Hold on, I think the music stopped. Yep, let me make sure to hit loop this time. Can grow armor on their arms that resemble beetle shells, can change arms to gain the strength of a kangaroo, grows reptile-like wings, almost that of ancient dinosaurs. However, most of the time they just resemble a human-like creature. It seems they are also not locked into being one form at a time and can change parts of their body at will. Awesome sauce. Oh, let me turn this up so you can actually see. Origin. His name is Poison, named after the substance his father died from. Wow, what a name. His mother blamed him for his father's death and made everyone believe he was evil. Over time, Poison developed a mysterious bottle of liquid that eventually killed his mother. Comes with a name, I guess. He always carries the bottle with him just in case he ever needs it again. He never speaks truthfully about himself and lies about nearly everything so that no one can use his past against him. The only way to learn the truth is to discover his backstory, which is recorded in a book buried beneath the ground beside his favorite tree. Only those who find and read the book will hear the truth from him. All right. Comet! Hails from a long-lost kingdom, has seen far too much death, some of which by their own hands. An immortal being trying to find a reason to live. Alias is the librarian warden. Do not call them monster, brute, or freak. What is this? Achievement 6th era. Stabbed, exploded, boiled, drowned, fought gods ×2, killed god ×1, abandoned by their best friends. That's crazy. I wish I could zoom this out a little bit so you could see more of it. Hold on. I can do this temporarily. Hall. Backstory. Hall was once the top scientist in the future. He had many great successes, with his greatest being a time machine. The time machine's main purpose was to gather research from the past. After many tests, the machine seemed to ready the first mission, named Operation Blast, to the past was set. Hall would volunteer to take on the mission. After months of preparation, Hall was sent back in time, but would unfortunately not make it to the targeted time. During the travel, a metal seal would break off the machine, causing a slime to get caught in the machine when passing through years. The machine would break apart and explode into the 5th era. Upon waking up, Hall would find himself morphed with the slime. In Era 6, Hall would build a robot clone of himself named Hall-1. The robot would replace him in the community as he would go on to adventure into different dimensions for future research. Wait, it hasn't been Hall anymore? It's Hall-1? I didn't know this. During this time, Hall found that he had stopped aging due to his DNA being changed over the years. Hall would return to Solace after Hall-1 went offline to find a fiery landscape. Oh, okay, so it's back to being Hall, not Hall-1 anymore. Crazy. You just missed yours? Oh, that's so sad. I was laughing at this part. Nova. Nova Nitri is a post-human, an artificial life form which mimics old humanity. He was raised on his home planet, Gaina 15, a planet which houses a small kingdom for its people led by royalty. Over their years, he was raised and instructed on militia to be a warrior. He became the right-hand royal protector, being directly assigned to their leader. He looked after his people and did his job. That was his purpose. Then came the great anomaly. His people died, nearly every last one civilian, the only remaining a singular life of the royal bloodline, a beggar on the street and a shopkeeper. He was slandered, yelled at, and beaten for failing to protect them. Now he walks the roads of Solace, for he has no purpose and belongs nowhere else. Aspen. She was an explorer with a group that she came to be very close with, cause that tends to happen after centuries being together. Yet, when the great anomaly happened, she was the only one left. Even when she returned home, there wasn't anyone. She kept exploring for a while, but decided she needed to settle and made her way to Solace. Mara. She lived on Solace a couple of years back when the crystal infection broke out. She was a part of the first group of infected people. Afterwards, she left the planet for her true mission, bringing back her sister from the dead. The other realms didn't bring good results, however. Solace was where she was closest to reaching her goals, but she lacked the magic needed, and so it didn't work. Finally, she decided to return to Solace in hopes that it will work this time. Mara, no matter what, I will use anyone or anything to get her back. I don't care what I will have to do. Aster, yeah, you posted this in the right one. This thing can be in Lore Tuesday. I'm pretty sure, unless this is... Yeah, that can probably be in Lore Tuesday. Aster Vask. Actually, yeah. No, I can read that now. Yeah, this is an OC from the RPG campaign that Virgil runs. For those who have heard about it, I will. I'll read from here. On November 23rd, 2467, aboard a small shuttle on the Outer Rim, Aster's life began, below the endless stars and hum of engines. From an early age, she demonstrated profound curiosity with space travel. She was also extremely bright and friendly, delighting both her parents and anyone she met amidst their travels. Who's bonking me? Stop it. She was particularly captivated by occasional broadcasts she would tune into, where she would catch glimpses of fictional machines and robots battling, often pleading with her father to let her pilot the ship, her small fingers hovering over the controls as if she were learning to play a delicate instrument. Life, however, was not simple for the Vasks. Her parents struggled with addiction and gambling, leaving them in debt where they were forced to flee from planet to planet across the rim. Aster grew up with impermanent connections. She often formed fleeting friendships with local children before these same circumstances often tore them apart. Thank you for actually patting me instead of bonking me. No, yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's fine. I'll read it. It is a little long for lore sheets, but, yeah. Things were different, though, when the Vask landed on Rostavon 7, a notorious casino planet hub. Her father, recklessly returning to the planet with unpaid debts, found himself cornered by local enforcers. Before he could escape, the guards seized Aster as collateral. At just 10 years old, she was left in the hands of one of Rostavon's wealthy benefactors named Loris Braun, while her father narrowly escaped, ultimately abandoning their mother in the planet's criminal underbelly. Later taken in by Iris and Rin Jlin, Aster was offered a choice, work for them or fend for herself. She began as a dealer for a popular local game, Rostavon, quickly discovering a natural talent for sleight of hand and subtle deception. Watching her through the casino's security cameras, Iris and Rin Jlin recognized her gift for influencing game outcomes and offered her a role in their other business. Between the ages of 12 and 13, Aster began accompanying June on odd jobs, which initially involved minor criminal activity on the planet. Alongside June, their sister Seth, and their parents, Aster found a kind of chosen family, growing particularly close to Seth. As her skills developed, so did the stakes of her work, stealing engineering creations to aid in her heists and performing increasingly complex operations. During this time, she became even more immersed in robotics and had an extra set of cybernetic arms attached to better aid her work, along with various cosmetic enhancements. She also developed one of her proudest creations, which she aptly named KO, K-O, and had an implant placed in her brain to control him more easily. By the age of 20, Aster was tasked with her most ambitious job yet, infiltrating a naval ship to steal spare fusion reactor components. It was there that Aster encountered Marcelo Virgil, the security officer aboard the SPNS Gakrux in 2487. Recognizing her potential, he offered her a new path, service in the Navy. She accepted and enrolled in the Naval Academy at 21, earning a 4-year engineering degree before serving 2 years aboard the SPNS Citadel. She was later contacted by Marcelo Virgil and requested to begin service aboard the SPNS Arcturus on October 4th, Oh, this is RPG. This is happened, right? Because she wasn't on the Arcturus crew in the Solace timeline. Pretty sure. She later became an engineer on the SPNS Cabo. Wait. Because this is right. She wasn't on the Arcturus, though. You asked? Oh. I don't know. Did we change that? Because she couldn't have been on the Arcturus and then not on and then on the Cabo, unless she was on the Arcturus and then left. But I would say she's on the Citadel and then was on the Cabo. Anyway, she later became an engineer on the SPNS Cabo, where she developed. I don't know why I said ultimately. Oh, it's because ultimately is down here, where she developed a crush on one of the security team members and escaped on a shuttle that ultimately arrived on Solace when the ship unfortunately crashed. Wasn't the Arcturus in its first mission? Yeah. Oh, it was on. Oh yeah, this was after the Great Anomaly. I was gonna say. Yeah. So just she was on the Citadel, and then on the Cabo, I would say. All right, moving on. We have Rex. Rex is a species of creature that enjoys mimicking humanoids, hiding his true form under a perfected human appearance. Unlike most of his race that's set to tricking and harming others, Rex's only goal is to keep the identity of his true self a secret and live like a real human. Too bad he's not very good at lying, and humans are incredibly rare. Rare? I didn't know that. So he's bound to raise some suspicion. Creepy! Fun fact, Rex can split himself down the middle vertically, revealing loads of teeth. Great! Love that. We have Endra. Backstory. My gosh, I'll try to read this fast. Yeah. That's true. It's okay. We can fix it. And Pomio is my friend. I'm only saying this because, like, I'm like, let me fix it for you. On her planet, Valerie, Endra was among a scholarly group known as the Reachers. Their job among their society was to reach certain planets and learn more about the species around them. She loved her job, and she loved learning and researching the different species in her galaxy and wanted to go on missions to other planets. However, her desire for adventuring to planets was met with pushback from her elders. Because of her novice status, she was not trusted with highly complex missions, as they were called, so she stayed on her planet most of her life. One day, during a rebellion that caused her to be wounded severely, she would experience something that caused her no choice but to flee her planet. Before the rebels could do any more damage, something with great power occurred. The Great Anomaly. Everyone had disappeared within the blink of an eye. The screams and shouting stopped, and all was made still. With a little bit of healing left in her, she healed her wounds as much as they could. Although her wings were still hurt, she had enough energy to fly still. Barely. Andra flew around Valerie, but found nobody. None of her friends, family, or even the elders were left. It was just her. She speculated how this was possible and what to do. She couldn't be here all alone, right? There has to be something out there. Something. I will clarify, not that this is, like, wrong. You can have a planet where only one person is left, although it would be very rare. 90% of 100 is still, 10 people left. 90% of 1,000,000 is still 100,000 people left. So in planning, if you're still planning out your character's backstory, only 90%, I say only, but 10% of the people should be remaining. Normally, unless, you're in such a small enough group, it's possible that only, 1 or 2 people are left. But yeah. There was, not on her planet, but maybe on others. She had always dreaded the idea of leaving her planet, especially when she wasn't permitted to. But what choice did she have? She couldn't stay. She couldn't stay on a planet where nobody was left but her. She flew to where the technologies used for the missions were held and put on a ring that aided in flying. She then flew to the takeoff deck and stared into the open sky. With a deep breath, she bent her knees, and with every bit of energy she had, she took off. She knew she didn't have a lot of energy to fly, especially with the blood loss of her wounds earlier, but she gave it everything she could to at least get somewhere. Anywhere. She found a planet and gave her last bit of energy to make it into the planet's atmosphere and surface. She was miles above an ocean when all of a sudden everything went black. She plummeted into the depths of the ocean and was swept away by its current. When she woke up, she found herself lying on a beachfront, soaking wet. She tried to fly, but found her wings too heavy for her body from the water. From her surroundings, she could deduce from her research and stories that she may have landed on Solace. That's surprising, because it looks just like Earth. And a lot of other terraformed planets. When she tried to fly to get a better look at the world, her wings... also, I will clear... Sorry. I'm not saying that you're wrong if you wrote this. When you go... We wrote this in, like, the... If you read the, like, character prep thing, it's really, really hard to accidentally land on a planet. Especially Solace, because if you go to the museum in the tutorial area, you can see the, like, the Soul Pact Union layout. If you think of the Milky Way galaxies, you get further away from the center. The stars systems are, like, much further apart. So you've got, like, I don't know, how many thousands of light years or whatever in between, maybe hundreds. I actually don't know the exact, but it's, like, huge distance between star systems. So it's, like, really hard to accidentally run into Solace. I know some, like, for the sake of story, this is fine. We have, like, characters like Cam that, happen to hit Solace. Knowing things about astronomy has ruined Star Wars for me. Yeah. When she tried to get a better look at the world, her wings proved truly broken. With reluctance, she withdrew her wings into her back for the first time. She looked out into the landscape in front of her with a deep and unsettling realization. Andrew's wish of going to another planet was made possible, but it took everything she had. Literally. We have Mars! Let me do this. We can at least see most of it. Mars Verity. Mars originally came to Solace because Eurillo had instructed her to. She views this as a fresh start and has even begun to feel connection to the people and the planet. She joined Frostfire, making quick friends with some residents, mainly Krufik and Kita. She also got a job at the hospital, working at fulfilling her main goal, to help as many people as she can. She mainly hopes to further her connections with others and make new friends, or something more, along the way. I point as if you can see where I'm pointing. This right here is really funny to me. The CEO YN thing. Awesome. We have Star, a new character from Frog. He has been working alongside his friends at the Constellation since he was 16. He's an apprentice in astrology and plate biology. He recently found out that he could make small stars in the palms of his hands, utilizing a strong amount of energy. So far, he can make tiny glowing stars appear for around 2 minutes on their own. When you say tiny, is it like tiny? Or like tiny for a star? Because that's huge. However, if he's holding them, the stars can remain for as long as he can source energy for it. Interesting. He could probably talk to Freya about making stars. Dislikes bananas. I don't know where that came from. Is this all that we have for lore sheets? I thought we were going to have way more. Well, if you're thinking of making a lore sheet, now you have some examples of some pretty good ones this season. Like the size of a quarter and smaller. Interesting. That's really cool. Freya could probably do that too. But I'm thinking like, huh. But yeah. We should definitely have them like talk about making stars. Am I allowed to send an updated one of mine? You can, but I will read it next week. I'm moving on. Going all the way up here. I'm going to turn off the music for a second here so we can watch this. This is the first thing that was posted, which I think most of you have probably seen. Let me go into... Oh, do I not have I don't have a YouTube thingy anymore. Hold on. This might be the way that I'm going to have to do it. Oh! Why is there a crane game? Marcelo! Rest in peace. Okay, this'll work for now. Ooh, spooky! 1 hour silence broken up by Gabriel. This was his first post, I assumed this was somebody's individual lore, and I was like, oh cool, and then the audio log started, and I realized it was actually server lore. Yeah, everyone knows by this point that We Don't Have Many Days is my alt account. This is how I, post stuff that has to do with, like, the main story, that isn't, like, my character's individual lore. So if you see We Don't Have Any Days post, that's something important. I mean, it's all important, but... This, now you guys know, this is the crash of the Cabo. The ship broke into pieces when it crashed. We took like weeks building this crater, by the way. It is, I say was it was massive. And we destroyed everything from Kindleroom up to the Arcturus land. It was the whole mountain gone. And it was deep. It was from the surface all the way to bedrock. Really cool. And then we deleted it after we got the videos. Everyone in Solace crash landing so hard that became canon. Yeah, the Cabo crash landed on Solace. Woke up with no memories. Huge. Yeah, it was... And the hardest part was So we like cleared out all the land, right? And then there was just plants. We had to go through and delete all of the plants that were floating, all of the entities that were floating. It took so much time, but we got it. Next April Fool's character just dropped. Ah yes, depressed deserted noises. Windows notification. Truly emotional. Sorry, I was closing my chat notifications app. The Cabo, humanized. 07 to the captain that tried to slow it down, by the way. I think I came up with a name. Pilato. Right. And there is the Statue of Remembrance's wing. I was hoping people would be like, what happened? What happened? What is going on? That's the Statue of Remembrance! And then be like, oh shit, the entire spawn area is gone. But nobody, I don't think anyone noticed. And then we have the logs.
Sir, there's a new ship in orbit.
What kind?
It looks like a civilian freighter. Undamaged. Sensors show only one life form on board.
Try hailing them.
Aye, sir. No response, sir.
They may be injured. Send a medical team over to offer assistance.
Aye, sir.
Everyone did such a good job with the voice acting for this. This is all the staff. You'll kind of be able to pick out people here and there. A fantastic job to everyone who worked on this.
Anything?
Cameron doing the accent.
Nope. Cicada's not giving me anything.
Is there interference?
Hard to say, sir. The scope looks clear. We're just not getting any life signs.
The cable confirms there is one life form on board.
Understood. Let's get to the bridge.
The ship fails. Off.
Don't talk like that. You're giving me the creeps.
How many would you say it'd take to crew?
A dozen or so.
I'd say you could manage 10.
Then where is everyone? Even if they were dead, wouldn't we see, I don't know, evidence of that?
Don't shoot! We're friendly!
Sir, I've lost
The
contact
screaming
with
always
you,
cracks me
team.
up.
Try to reestablish.
I'm trying, but
What is it?
someone said don't shoot right before the comms went out.
Security, send in another team. Armed.
Aye, sir. My god, me mention. Rip Australia.
now. First team's location was last pinged towards the bridge. Clear rooms as we go. Weapons, at the ready. Stay alert.
Clear.
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 Medical team, come in.
Clear.
Contact! Open fire!
What the fuck? Does he have some sort of shield?
Commander!
Fall back!
Hey, boat, this is recovery team. Requesting...
Yeah, this one was probably my second favorite. I like the last one the best. I love doing audio stuff, man. It's so fun.
Yes, sir. Both teams are assumed to be lost. Last contact was over 10 minutes ago. Yes, sir. Shields up. Red alert. Arm linear cannons and prepare to fire on my order.
Linear cannons armed.
Fire. Report.
Sir, the
What just happened?
shots just disappeared.
What?
No damage to your ship or shields, sir.
Fire again.
They're firing back, sir.
Maneuver.
Moving!
Oh, wait. I love Fluffy's
How hard did they
acting in this.
Controls are unresponsive. We're knocked out of orbit, sir.
Engineering. Report.
Shields and stealth up. Warn the planet. The capo is lost and it's going to crash onto the surface.
Aye, sir.
Sir, I think they're going to hit a city. Can we do anything?
Not without tearing our ship apart and falling with them. We need to fall back or we'll end up like the Cabo. Order the fleet to retreat.
Projecting a large meter-quality object on radar. Losing altitude. Scanning. Meteor-quality object identified as a Solpac Navy vessel. Emergency alert. Major crash imminent. Rears under collision risk. Recurs lands. Keeps the source. Wildlife expeditions. Groupers Corner. Moon-touch Kingdom. Kindlegrim. Initiating evacuation protocols. Notifying known medical agencies. Pinging employee lights comms device.
I also really wanted to do, I wanted to, like, some audio from On the Planet, but I was like, there's no way I can get that many people to be, like, yelling and screaming and stuff. So we didn't end up doing it. I was like, I'll leave it to people to, like, describe what it was like on the surface.
Multiple of the fecking systems are down, sir. Reactor's gone, the epoxy thrusters are out. Shields they're completely banjaxed.
Can you get me sublight?
I remember talking to CJ and we were like, what if you did, like, the most Irish accent, you know? Because engineering, you got, like, you know, freaking Star Trek with, like, the beat me up Scotty. Like, I'm giving it the best I've got, Captain. They're completely banjaxed.
Light thrusters back. We don't need to stabilize, just break orbit.
Not a chance, Cap. The fuel system's got no pressure. Be ages till I get the second thing running.
Alright, looks like we'll have to leave the Cabo.
CJ killed it.
The Cabo is lost. All hands, abandoned ship. Repeat, all hands, abandoned ship.
I loved layering the chaos on this.
Sir, we've got a problem. We're directly on course for a major population center.
Do we have RCS?
It's minimal, sir, but it's responding.
Get to a lifeboat, Ensign. When everyone is off the ship, we'll send her into a spin, and we'll try to slow her down.
Aye, sir. Good luck.
Captain always goes down with his ship.
And I think it's so fitting. That line. The captain always goes down with his ship. Considering Marcelo just died, and now all of the Arcturus, every piece of it, has been destroyed in this crash. The captain did go down with his ship. And it's fitting that Virgil voiced the captain of the Cabo as well. Just saying. Alright. Now on to SUNC 531 major collision data. Into the real stuff here. Not like that wasn't real, but the fun stuff. Processing. Meteor quality object alert sent 531 D338 at approximately 1500. Alert footage lost. Last captured image detected. Weather data. Start of incident. 8 miles an hour northeast. 8 miles per hour northeast. 75 temperature. Precipitation 5%. Air pressure 1022 millibar. End of incident. 18 miles per hour winds. Northwest. Temperature 680. Precipitation 0%. Air pressure 2 millibar drop. Ignition point. Immediate zone 2.98 miles. 4,800 meters. Extended zone 5.96 miles or 9,600 meters. 1500. Unusual atmospheric conditions detected. Monitoring. 1501. Vessel detected in space. Determined low risk. 1503. Movement detected in upper atmosphere. Monitoring. Movement halted. Determined low risk. Movement detected in the upper atmosphere. Monitoring. Movement halted. Determined low risk. Unusual atmospheric conditions detected. Scanning. Additional heat source detected. Determined high risk. Detecting a large meteor quality object on radar. Losing altitude. Scanning. Meteor quality object identified as a Solpac Navy vessel. Emergency alert. Major crash imminent. Areas under collision risk. Arcturus lands, the Keepers of Solace, Lilac Expeditions, Joker's Corner, Moon-touched Kingdom, Kindlegrim. Initiating evacuation protocols. Notifying known medical agencies. Pinging employee lights comms device. Message received from Solpac Navy vessel Petra. Movement detected in the upper atmosphere. Estimated distance from falling Solpac Navy vessel 100 kilometers. Estimated distance from falling Solpac Navy vessel 40 kilometers. Collision detected. 2.0 earthquake. Fire spreading. Cameras lost. Pinging comms devices. Scanning for casualties. Recorded injuries and casualties, all processing. Collision injuries, unknown or data corrupted. Zeros. Zeros is just trying his best. And then we have audio data. This is heartbreaking, by the way. Get ready.
Emergency alert. Increased seismic activity. Volcanic eruption imminent. Dangerous conditions. Evacuate all personnel immediately.
Director Ian Waters. Director Ian Waters. Director Ian Waters, you need to wake up. Catastrophic situation detected. Waters. Waters, SU-15 eruption imminent. Simulation detect this action and will trigger eruptions across the entire undersea chain. Situation too hazardous. You need to evacuate the building immediately. Waters. Waters, for your own safety, I recommend that you evacuate from the facility immediately. Waters. Waters, you did not install an exit and mover system in that room. It cannot get to you. You need to get out. Volcanic eruption imminent. Waters. Please.
Please.
Wake up.
Tears! I'm gonna cry. I'm so sad, dude. Exactly. I cannot get to you, and please. It's so sad. The file you were accessing appears to no longer exist in our network. This could be a loss in tracking data. Nearest relay satellite is 97,000 kilometers. Would you like to try again? Yes. We've light exited, entered, and exited. Data loss, data corrupted. Hazards of the freezer being a more last-minute addition to the facility. Yeah. We have SUNC 531 volcano eruption data. Warning, data loss detected. Proceed? Yes. Confirm? This could further spread the spread of contaminated data. Yes. Accessing network. Data corrupted. The Solace Weather Services has issued a volcano eruption alert for the following areas. Data loss. Effective until data corrupted. Message transmission from transmission incomplete. Seek shelter immediately. Stay alive. Volcano eruption alert sent 531, day 338 at approximately 8. We have, you know, all the stuff from the crash, wind speeds, temperature, etc. And then end of the volcano, wind speeds, and wind direction and temperature, everything is just nothing because poor Ceros has been destroyed. Seismic activity detected. Determined aftershock from major collision. Seismic activity continues. Hazard detected. Scanning. Volcanic activity detected. Volcanic chain no longer dormant. Analyzing. Assessing possible solutions. Warning, data loss. Deactivating freezer. Alerting Director Ian Waters. Alerting Director Ian Waters. Alerting Director Ian Waters. Alerting. Warning, Director Ian Waters. Warning. Warning, Director Ian Waters. Warning, Director Ian Waters. Volcanic eruption detected. I don't even want Waters back. I just want Ceros back. I miss Ceros. I'm so sad. 07 in the chat for Ceros, please. I need an alert of some kind. Like a little pop-up thing or whatever of like a big 07. Has anyone seen Peepaw? He's missing in a little seat on it. SPS cable crash report, Fortress of Kindlegrim. On Sunday, the 31st of May, 2498, the SPS Cabo, a destroyer ship associated with the Solpac Navy, which had been in orbit of planet Solace, crash-landed into the planet's surface after being attacked by another ship that had entered orbit alongside it. I, Croy Forgemale, and my son Kron were present in Kindlegrim when the crash occurred. We were repairing the main body of our faction, which had gone to ruin due to past weather events and resolved confrontations. This area was situated in a large cave carved into a mountain. I received an alert on my comms device about a crash and that Kindlegrim was under collision risk. I went out to find my son, who had gone to gather more materials, more specifically blackstone from the chests left behind in the unfinished tunnels further in the main area. When I found them, I could hear the sound of explosions and ground being plowed through. I grabbed Kron and rushed out of the cave just as the mountain was beginning to collapse in on itself. Kron has mild bruising across his shoulders, shoulder blades, and lower back due to the impact of the crash when we escaped. Other than this, Kron is unharmed. I am unharmed from the crash also. Due to the deaths and leaving of the original leaders of Kindlegrim during Era 6, no one but myself and Kron remain in the faction. Therefore, there are no casualties or deaths of other members to be recorded. There are no known casualties or deaths of other persons separate from the faction who were on the land of Kindlegrim at the time of the crash. All of the Kindlegrim land has been destroyed by the crash. There is nothing left that can be recovered. Croy Forgemale, head of Kindlegrim, 3rd of June, 2498. The day the heavens fell. The crash. From Comet. Comet heard a loud, distant explosion and flinched. It was probably a training drill or something the Navy was conducting. That is to say, they didn't think much of it at first. Then the debris. A flash of noise next to them, and then the earth exploded, sending them flying back and reeling from the pain and noise that soon began to overwhelm them. Then the screams began. The wardens slowly rose, their legs shaky like a newborn fawn, their head whipped around, desperately looking for clues, something, anything all that could hint to what was happening. They felt a familiar feeling build up again in their chest, up their throat and into their head. It can't happen again. No, please, Rua, no, not again. Another explosion next to them. They stumbled back, looking around again for any hint of what was happening. But no matter where they looked, there were explosions. There were screams, horrible, dreadful, blood-curdling screams. They were trapped. They couldn't see where the explosions were coming from. There was no rhyme or reason, no place for escape like at the ball, or even back at Arum. For as far as Comet could see, it was a battlefield. "General!" one of the men called. "The enemy is advancing." "General!" another one called. "We've lost too many men already." The voices began overlapping, clamoring over each other, desperate for an answer, turning towards and clinging onto their dear leader, begging for help. "Enough!" a voice echoed. Its owner rose from its chair, looming over everyone else. "If you cannot, I will be the one to get it done." The feeble men began to protest. After all, a general doesn't belong on the front lines. No, it's far too precious. It doesn't belong on the battlefield. All it needs to do is sit there and give instructions, using its men like pawns to sacrifice in a game of chess. Generals don't belong on the battlefield. They belong behind the scenes, manipulating others. So when the general arrived at the battlefield, the army men were shocked, confused, but at the same time relieved. When the general arrived on the battlefield, it wasn't scared or fazed. It felt the heartbeat of battle around it, and deep down it felt like home. So it raised its axe and swung. That same mighty general was now shaking, head whipping around as their home became the battlefield. The explosions were loud, coming from every direction, and they kept coming closer and closer, but they couldn't tell where to run, because everywhere led to more explosions, and their home was on fire, and their countrymen were screaming, and their chest was beating hard, and their breaths became more shallow, and they were completely useless, and people were dying, and... A hand grabbed theirs, pulling them into a sprint. "You need to get out of here," Obsivi shouted over the sound of explosions, pulling Comet along, dodging and weaving the debris. "It's not safe, you can't see." "Obsivi?" Comet's voice called, holding back a cry. "What's happening?" "Navy ship is falling out of the atmosphere. It exploded." A loud boom cut her off. "I need to help," Comet cried out, as the realization of the magnitude of what was happening dawned on them. "No, you don't," Obsivi cut them off. "You can't see, you'll only get yourself injured. Don't be stupid." "I can't be killed, but you can be hurt." Obsivi's voice rose louder over Comet's, the sternness cutting through the air. We need you safe. Comet's body burned as it ran as fast as it could, mimicking every step and dodge Obsivi took. The world around was a blur, and the only thing they could see was their daughter. When they got to the water, Obsivi struggled to untie the small sloop as Comet clambered in. The warden tore the rope out of Obsivi's hand and ripped it apart, setting the boat free. The seas were rough, threatening to capsize them at every moment, battering them from every direction. Without hesitation, something took over Comet, and they knew what to do. One moment they were anxious, afraid. Next they were calm and in charge. There's a hidden link? Yes, please post it in Lore Tuesday. Comet hoisted the sail, holding it steady as the boat propelled over the water. When I say go, shift to the other side, they yelled over the roaring winds. All right? Obsivi nodded. The salt doused the pair, soaking them to the bone, winds battering them. Comet's knuckles grew white as they gripped the ropes and the tiller. They should be scared. They should be afraid, but they are not. The boat began to keel over to one side. Go! Comet screamed, and Obsivi tossed herself to the other side of the boat, narrowly missing the boom as it swung. The boat righted itself, but not before taking on some water. Obsivi grabbed a bucket, and with one hand gripping the side of the boat, began to bail the water. A crosswind hit, and the boat began to shift. Go! Obsivi dove to the other side. It wasn't long before land appeared in front of them. The boat crashed on the island, rocks tearing up the wooden hull. Shit! Comet muttered. They scrambled out onto land, where Obsivi joined them. Comet climbed up the steep hill and was greeted with the comforting sight of the library. It was intact. Soot and ash were everywhere, but it was intact. Obsivi, clear out the tables. Set up triage. I'll try and contact others. Comet rushed into their office, looking for the radio. It was much more powerful than their comms device. Static. The ship must have taken down any hopes of communication for the time being. Shit. What now? The people needed to know that the library was safe, that there were survivors here. Comet rushed down the stairs, looking around wildly, trying to think of what to do. There had to be something. There was something nagging in the back of Comet's mind. A familiar voice, but one they had not heard in a long while. A comfort. When all seems dark in that foreign night, keep that light burning bright. Keep that light burning bright. The old man's voice gently saying, Remember, my dear, a lighthouse is not just for navigation, he said, a twinkle in his eye. It lets others know that they are not alone, and that they are safe. Be that light for others. Comet sprinted out the door, their chest aching, their feet pounding against the earth as they charged headlong to the lighthouse. They grabbed the oil at the bottom and ran up the stairs, 2 at a time. When they reached the top, they fumbled with the can. The technology was outdated, something that had been replaced eons ago, but it brought comfort to them. Modern electronics they struggled with, but this is where they thrived. The beacon was lit, and the window panes were covered in ash. No use in the light if no one could see it. The keeper stepped out onto the window's walk, winds howling violently. They gripped the balcony tightly with one hand, the other unclasping their cloak, and began to wipe the windows, circling around the beacon until the beams were able to cut through the smog and smoke. Please, the keeper's voice rang, just barely rising above the din of the chaos. Let others find us. Let my light guide others. Absolute cinema. And here are Obsivi and Comet. My goats. Ooh! We have Trigal video. Let's go. Go back down to this so we can watch it this way.
Heads up, Trigal. We'll be arriving at Solus soon. I'll drop us to the sublight in 2 minutes.
Roger that, Control. No, that's not it. No. This is literally one of the most famous children's stories in the entire world. How do we not have a copy? Oh, wait. Oh my god, I think I might have actually found it.
Oh? Give it a read then.
There. Golden Colosseum.
Does it say how to beat it?
Let me see. The gilded god is yet to come, another world it beckons from, a land of treasure, gold, and fame. It knows your heart and calls your name. A contest for a golden ring, a fallen scepter shimmering, a sigil of eternal health, a diamond throne of untold wealth. To claim it is to change your world, lest ere you fall upon the sword, so let you garner great renown, to don yourself the copper crown. As it draws near, the spires rise, from burning sear to cold reprise. The fallen, lurking past the dawn, a boon of treasure. Paragon.
Trigal, get to the cockpit now.
We're flying blind out here. What does the barometer say?
I can't get a read, it's swinging. Rear stabilizers just went out. Outer temperature approaching 600 degrees.
Engage heat shields. Trigal, coordinates.
Latitude 3350, longitude -753. Starboard thrusters offline.
We're not making it that far. Computer, calculate ideal drag trajectory for crash.
Calculating. Pitch -16 degrees, yaw 0 degrees, reducing trim. Disengaging port side thrusters to avoid tailspin. 12 seconds to impact.
Hands on airbags.
Braced. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
How did they also crash?
Oh my god. What happened to Solace?
How did they also crash? I made a whole display to show the barometer swinging, but I didn't know if you were using it.
As you can
This
tell,
is so cool. Really good job of like keeping the like tension high. You arrived at exactly the wrong time. Oh, you were near the explosion. Oh, like you were about to land and then the cable crashed? That's insane timing. In a bad way. I'll
Was
watch
a
the
bit
rest
different
of
from
this.
my other ones. It's a lore video for an upcoming series I'm going to be doing on the Smile SMP. Season 7 is right around the corner and anybody can join. That's right, you in the audience can join this server. It's so much fun, I highly recommend it. I've got a whole bunch of really fun things planned for this server, so stay tuned. Thank you very much for
Is this
watching.
your
Have a
personal
good one.
world? Or is this another server? I'm curious, like, there's
Can
cool,
join this server.
cool builds on here. I'm excited. From, oh, let me go back to this thing. It was just for your YouTube channel? I see, that's cool. We got Zinnia. Ah! Home is where the fire is. Ah! Zinnia, no! Let me actually go look at the hidden link here for this first.
The volcanic eruption of SV-15 is determined a catastrophic impossibility by the network on first arrival to the location. Initially determined as it appeared contained by some sort of barrier. It would not erupt under any natural circumstances, but due to the barrier, it was impossible to measure its dormancy. That barrier broke the day the cable crashed. It was determined early on that if SV-15 ever erupted, it would be very hazardous for a large region of Solus. And it will be.
Oh man. We're so cooked. We are so cooked. All right. From light, the day the sky fell. There's mentions of blood and injury. It was a slow day, surprisingly. There wasn't much happening in the hospital. Few people came in with minor issues. It was a blessing for one very overworked dragon. Light caught up on her usual work in the hospital, was working through the paperwork she had brought with her. Having taken over the Moon-touched Kingdom as its leader following Zephyr abandoning it, she had basically been working non-stop with very little sleep. Nothing new. It was worth it, in her very biased opinion. She was helping people. Her people. Plus, it wasn't like she was pushing away personal rest. There were times she let Zinnia drag her away from paperwork to look at a valley of flowers, or times she hung out with Croy and Kron, or the quiet times she had spent with Lucky, or the times she had spent seated on the other side of that freezer door, no matter how cold it made her. Oh. The thought of the freezer made Light pause for a moment. She would not cry, not here. She furiously wiped at her eyes. It was stupid to still be so hung up on that. It was Water's choice. She wouldn't have any say in it. She wouldn't have any say in the matter, even if he'd let her have a say. It just stung. Stop thinking about it, you idiot, the dragon growled to herself. She laid her head down onto her arms. She didn't stop thinking about it. With a sigh, Light dug her hand into her pocket and pulled out her comms device. She hesitated for a moment, then pulled up her messages with Waters. She had never told anyone, not even Zinnia, but she had been sending her dad messages every day. Sometimes she sends multiple messages. It was her way of keeping her dad up to date with her life while he remains frozen. The dragon took a deep breath and sat up. She typed a message. Hey, Dad. I'm doing all right. Things have been peaceful so far. I've been working a lot. I've taken over the Moon-Touched Kingdom. Don't get mad at me when you read this, but I'll admit that I haven't been sleeping like I should. I know. Rest is important. I just want to help people. I'll take a break soon, I promise. I just need to do something. I miss you, Dad. I'll see you once you get unfrozen. Light read the message over several times, then sent it. Despite her efforts, she was crying. Waters was like a dad to her, and she missed him deeply. She muttered as a curse and wiped away her tears. A feeling ran down Light's spine. It made her shiver. She got to her feet, nearly knocking over a chair as she grabbed her bag from under her desk. Her ears twitched as a comms device started to ring with an alert. She didn't need to look at her own device to know it was bad. Everyone, evacuate immediately, she ordered. Get away from the area as fast as you can. Do not stop. Go. People listened and left. She helped her fellow nurses as they rushed to get the patients out of the hospital. Light made the mistake of looking to the sky. She saw the ship and knew that things were going to get bad. Couldn't panic, not now. She had to get these people out of here. She had her comms device in her hand. She sent a voice note to Waters explaining everything. She didn't know what would happen to SUNC. She wasn't even sure if she would be able to... Mama! A child's voice ended her train of thought. Light whirled around and saw a child on the ground a few yards away. She stuffed her comms device into her bag and teleported it away. She didn't hesitate to run back for the young girl. She cursed again when she saw that the child's ankle was broken, likely from someone stepping on it. A rumble sounded. They were out of time. Light was out of time. Without a thought of her own safety, the dragon pulled up a protective shield around the child as she pulled her into her arms and positioned her body to take the brunt of the shockwave. Everything was a blur. Pain bloomed, then numbed. The dragon's ears rang. Everything was so loud. The rumble as a part of a ship came to rest. The screams of people injured or dying. It made her ears hurt. Ash rained upon Light and the young girl she protected. The child was crying. Minor injuries. Good. She was safe and alive. The dragon moved to sit. If you're in the Keepers of Solace area, by the way, you've been turned to dust. Unless you got like some sort of protection or whatever. Like everyone who doesn't have a way to escape or whatever, you're dust. I'm sorry. SUNC was obliterated. Freya heads up document coming up soonish that isn't approved for reasons we're trying to sort. Thank you. Maybe put like an X on it so I know. We're alive, she said softly. You'll be all right. Her vision blurred. She had to fight to remain conscious. She heard a voice getting closer. Rescuers, brave civilians that came back to get those still alive and injured. Her hands shook as she lifted the child to them. She urged them to get to her out first. One person stayed with her, while another broke off from the group to take the child to safety. Light tried to get up, to move. Her vision turned gray as a sharp pang of agony shot through her legs. She looked down and wanted to curse every god and goddess of luck and misfortune. Below the knees, her legs were gone. Her golden blood pooled from open wounds. It was far too much, even for her. Oh, Light mumbled, as her mind became sluggish. I'm going to die again. Then she slumped. The people with her yelled, desperate to keep her alive. She needed to remain awake, to do something to keep herself from passing out. She couldn't move. She was so tired. Maybe she could... No, she needed to stay awake. She needed to find the others. What about Kron and Croy, Lucky, Zinnia? Oh gods, Mira and Dante, Cam, even Comet. She needed to know that they were all right. The dragon's body finally gave out. Her vision blurred, then turned black. She closed her eyes and finally passed out. From Bagel, A Ruined Vacation. Gabriel lore. I cannot catch a break. I think some sort of meteor just crashed into the mainland. Frustration coated my voice. You don't have to help them. You know, Gabriel. Maybe this will wipe out those reanimated that have run from my grasp. Dyla. Is it Dyla or Dila? Dila? Dila's voice echoed. My small green-cloaked friend never surprised me about her hatred of those who return from the realm of the living. Maybe, but as you know, I cannot resist a good story. With that, my form shifted to one of a large bird. The wind sings as I fly to the unfortunate souls. Maybe my garden can wait just a bit longer. I've seen some hints of stuff that Bagel has been building for lore, and I'm excited. 2 tabs. Finding Solace. Leaving home. I slowly unclipped the golden necklace from under my scarf and lowered it into the glowing red pad that kept the door in front of me sealed tight. Access granted. Welcome, Heron Yelt. I didn't recognize the name. It wasn't someone I knew. The pod wasn't mine. The necklace, no, the key wasn't mine either. I don't know if Graham knew them either. The red light turned a bright green and the door hissed as it opened in front of me, allowing entry. I slowly stepped up to the cockpit and sat down, flipping the switches and buttons I had become familiar with from time with previous pods like this one. Coordinates have already been entered into the navigation system. However, there is no planetary body at the desired coordinates. Are you sure you want to launch? I looked down at the necklace one more time before I clipped it back around my neck and hid it under my scarf. Yeah, I'm sure. Get me off of this space station. Understood. Launching in 3, 2, 1. Launching. Crash landing. Warning, warning, warning. Entering the orbit of an unidentified planetary body at high speeds. Autopilot disengaged. Please take manual control. The robotic voice of the pod startled me awake. I ran to the front of the pod and hopped in the cockpit, quickly trying to assess the situation. Shit. Pewter, what are the current coordinates? This makes me think that I need to do like a... Pewter, what are our current coordinates? But I won't. The current coordinates are 0726 39 blah 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 numbers, as entered previously. We've arrived at our destination. Wait. There's a planet here? You said there was nothing here. I hit whatever buttons I could see to try and slow my descent onto the planet. Oh, that's not speaking. Onto the planet. Correct, there is no planetary body or otherwise located at the entered coordinates. Clearly there is! Shit! God damn it, Graham, you were right. You were actually right. My gloved palm hit the top of my helmet in disbelief as the alarms continued to blare in my ear. Brace for impact. Brace for impact. Brace for impact. Oh shit! Like how Lego Batman says it? Wait, how does Lego Batman... I don't know how Lego Batman says pewter. All text has been translated from the original Satale. Dear Graham, well damn, you were right. You were really right. There was a planet at those coordinates you put in the computer. A not half bad looking one either. Can't say I won't miss the metal halls we made our home, but I certainly won't complain about a couple of trees over here. Jokes aside, I'm sorry you couldn't come with me, but I really promise that we'll see each other again one day. Maybe it will be here on Solace, or maybe it will be back on Satalis. I'm sorry, I'm probably saying that wrong. But it'll be soon. Don't worry. Oh, and tell those thick-headed children of metal that I'll sure as hell see them again, too. I don't think I gave them enough hell during my farewell tour. Jokes really aside, I wish that you were here to see what I'm seeing. Away from the monsters and pirates. Enjoy Satalis, Graham. I'll be here on Solace. Fire. Welcome back, Balios! Balios is back. It's been a few months since Balios last saw the green earth of any planet. He has spent his days in a constant cycle of train, eat, sleep, repeat. It was endless, but during one train session, which was close to being his last, Balios felt a sharp pain in his head and legs that made him stumble, which almost led to him being crushed by a flying warhammer from Valor. But luckily, he ducked, and the hammer flew past his head, slamming into the floor of the realm. Valor, the primordial known as the Seeker, looked at Balios with wide eyes, thinking he had almost beheaded... So there are like 3 Seeker things now. There's the Seekers, the Seeker, and the Wave Seeker. Which, I mean, this was here... I think the Wave Seeker came first, and then the Seeker, whatever. I think he had almost beheaded his niece's brother. He let out a sigh of relief, knowing he wouldn't get in trouble. I know they're not related. There's like 3 different ones. They're all named the Seeker, or Seeker in some way. Knowing he wouldn't get in trouble before he walked over to the blind fox. Why'd you stop? You almost died, Valor asked, helping Balios up. My leg. I don't know why, but my leg feels like it's been ripped off. My head is in so much pain, Balios said as he barely put pressure on his leg, making his staff appear to help him keep himself steady. Weird. I haven't ripped your leg off yet, so why would it be hurting? Unless... Valor said as he turned around and made a book appear, reading through it swiftly before turning around. You have a connection to light. Because of you being the one to revive her and connecting her to the Tree of Life, you get to feel every physical pain that she goes through. So that means my little star is hurt. He smiled while speaking before it hit him. My little star is hurt. Get out of him now. He'll get you home. I have to see what the hell happens. Valor turned and ran, the realm shifting back into the maze of bookshelves. He went to find Light's book to read back on whatever caused it, so that he can't beat the living shit who did it to her. Balios was already running to the painting that led into the great hall of the giant space castle. He tripped on his way out of the painting, but that didn't stop him. He swiftly got up and continued his way to the throne room. Elohim sat on his throne in all of his glory. He had an orb in his hand, speaking to someone until Balios rudely interrupted him. He made the orb vanish and looked at Balios with an annoyed look. Oh, look who it is, the poor blind bard. What do you need now? He said with a sigh. I need to get back to Solace now. Something has happened and it's not good. I have to get back, Balios said frantically. Elohim lifted his head slightly, an idea forming in his head. He stood from his throne before declining his throne. Oh, I'll be delighted to help. Just this once. Never again. Elohim stepped closer to Balios. I'll make you a portal home, but you never return here again. I've had enough of your failure of a life to have it ruin my beautiful planet again. Elohim faced a side wall and made a portal of solace for Balios to go through and never return. Balios agreed and ran through it back to his home, back to his sister. When he stepped through the portal, he stood in the middle of destruction. He thought he'd be sent to the moon-touched kingdom or the cove, but there was nothing, just the smell of fire and ash. He was deep in a crater, and he'd have to find some way to leave. More from Light. Awakened to a new day. The wind on her face and the grass brushing against her ankles would have fooled her into believing that the great anomaly hadn't happened, that Theufa was alive, that her people were alive. Light knew better. She couldn't allow herself to believe this cruel illusion. I hadn't made it out of cruelty, a voice said, soft and warm in tone. The dragon turned and looked at the tall woman that now stood next to her, whereas it was empty only moments ago. I know, my lady, Light replied softly as she turned her gaze back to the crowded city of Sabrisi. But to show me a time where my people weren't killed or taken, that is still cruel. There's a secret link? Why do people keep making secret links? I never find them! I'll look at it in a second. The woman smiled sadly, her shoulders slumping ever so slightly. The black fabric of her kimono rustled as she raised a hand and placed it upon the smaller dragon's head. I'm sorry, she said softly. I had wished that it would have brought you comfort while you healed. Light let out a bitter laugh, tears forming in her eyes. Comfort. What's the use of comfort when I remain unconscious while my friends, family, and people I wish to help deal with the aftermath of the crash? She said as she wiped the tears away. My faction was likely destroyed. I don't even know who is hurt and who isn't. I can't help anyone in this state. You couldn't have helped anyone if you had died, the goddess retorted gently. That got Light to pause. Her mother was right. If she had died, she couldn't have helped anyone. She would have been stuck in limbo again. The dragon sighed softly and sat in the grass. She closed her eyes and listened. My dear star, you know your limits, especially when you are hurt, the woman said as she walked in front of her daughter as she sat on her knees. I know, Lilith, but I hate not being able to do more to help, Light said as she buried her face into her knees. Lilith chuckled softly. She reached out and gently cupped the young dragon's cheek. I know, my daughter, she said softly. Her touch felt so real, so warm, that Light couldn't help but to lean into the touch. You'll awaken soon, my little star. Try not to startle Kron too much. The goddess chuckled as if laughing at something only she knew. Then everything turned black. Sound came first. The sound of ships landing and flying, the muffled sound of animals, of people talking. Then the feeling came, the feeling of blanks, the warmth of an early summer day. Light slowly opened her eyes. One half of her vision was obstructed by bandages. The other half gazed up at the ceiling of the medical tent she was in. She was awake. Oh gods, she was really awake. Her mouth felt dry and her body stiff. There were aches and pains all over her body. Her horns, likely having been broken at some point during the chaos, had a particular sharp pain that was causing her to have a headache. She turned her head to one side and saw the other beds filled with people whose injuries ranged from moderate to severe. The dragon longed to help them, to heal them. She turned her head to the other side and saw a certain masked creature she knew all too well. It was Kron, her little sibling. They were sitting on the ground in a position that made them seem small. It would have been considered an odd position by anyone else. Light understood. This loud and crowded medic tent wouldn't be all too comfortable for them. Kron? She whispered, her words barely more than a rasp. She felt relieved to see that they were all right, and yet she also felt a deep sadness for making them and Croy worry about her. She never liked it when someone worried about her. What made her feel especially awful was that she wasn't there to comfort and help them when everything initially went down. Light finally noticed that her little sibling was looking at her. She tried to smile at them, not wanting them to worry more than she always has. She tried to call moisture to her mouth. It was horribly dry. Kron, she repeated, a bit louder, although her voice had a horrible rasp to it. The creature finally moved closer to their sister's side, kneeling beside her bed so their face would be level with hers. Their body was rigid, shoulders bunched and a little shaky. It was a hint to the dragon that he wanted to hug her. Without saying a word, she lifted herself onto her elbow. She reached out and pulled Kron into a hug. She couldn't help it. She sobbed as she buried her face into their shoulder, very obviously relieved that the creature was alive and safe. Kron stood very still, but they didn't protest. When their sister started to cry, they returned her hug, squeezing her tightly. Light felt them adjust their mask, pushing it upward slightly as they buried their face into the dragon's shoulder. She felt their tears soak through the cloth of the torn tunic she wore. Translation? Little Fawn, I'm glad you're okay. Oh, it scrolled up to the top. Oh no. Light said softly as she adjusted herself to sit up better, adjusting her hold on her little sibling as she did. Sorry for worrying you and Papa! Sorry for worrying you and Papa. Scroll. She pulled away slightly to take another look around the medical tent. There were very few people that she distantly recognized, but thankfully no one truly close to her. She sighed with relief and turned her attention back to Kron. Little Flower, that's what I read from this thing. Is Zinnia all right? Is Papa doing okay? Did you get hurt in the crash? She asked, worry-laced in her voice. Kron adjusted their position to look at Light properly, sniffling a bit more before responding. I'm fine, and so is Dad. He's home. Croy protected me. I'm just sore. I don't know where Zin is. I haven't seen her, they stated, pausing for a moment when Light reached out and gently wiped her sibling's tears. Her wings moved to hide Kron from view. She knew that they didn't like people seeing their faces. Light felt a bit anxious. Zinnia had grown on her, becoming a sort of sister to the dragon ever since Waters chose to go into the freezer. Thinking of her dad caused her even more anxiety. Has anyone gone to check on SUNC? Was her dad okay? Was Zinnia safe? Gods above, what about Mira, Common, and Cam? What about Lucky? Light took a sharp breath and started to rub her hands on her blanket, the texture of the fabric helping to ground her to the present. Her hands shook badly, and everything started to become muffled as a ringing started to sound in her ears. She was brought out of her panicked state when her Kron moved. When her Kron moved? Shifting to stand while keeping one hand on their sister's. Their balance was a little off, but she doubted that they cared. I get doctor for you? Tell them you're awake? Oh, and water, and food I can get if you want? The dragon paused. She did feel. Light quickly looked at her gaze on the ground beside her bed, staring at the small patch of grass and flowers that hadn't been here before her brief panic spiral. Yeah, the dragon responded after a moment. Yeah, the doctors should be notified, and food and water would be nice. If you can, you should notify Papa that I'm awake. I'm sure that he'll want to know. She moved her gaze to her blankets. Her hands fidgeted with creases of the fabric in a vain attempt to hide just how nervous and scared she was. Kron gave a determined nod. They gave Light another quick hug before moving to leave through the flap of the tent, briefly catching sight of the grass and flowers and being sure not to step on them. Before they disappeared outside, they quickly leaned back to look at their sister. I'll be back quick. Promise. They then disappeared beyond the tent flap, their voice fading as they informed a doctor of the dragon's awakening. Now that creature was gone, Light's grip on the blanket tightened. Slowly, she lifted the fabric and confirmed what she already distantly knew. Her legs were gone. Both of them. The Anisir stared at her missing limbs, not registering the tears that were forming in her eyes until they slid down her face. Her ears lowered as a broken sob escaped her, her head lowering. She knew that this was the cost of her putting the life of a stranger over her own, risking her life to save another. The dragon simply hated how useless that choice had made her. How could she do anything to help others when she couldn't even walk? A doctor, one of the ones the Solpak Navy had brought in most likely, came over to check on her. They were surprised by how fast her injuries had healed. Light had to explain that it was normal for her species to heal at an accelerated rate. She deliberately admitted that the accelerated healing was caused by the natural magic found in an Anasir's body. She doubted that they would accept that explanation by any means, but she wasn't about to be called crazy for something seemingly unnatural. Light was soon given food and water, two things she accepted gratefully. Kron hadn't returned, something that hadn't surprised the dragon. She guessed that they had gone to Delcroix, that she was awake. She was about to settle down and wait for their inevitable return when the tent flap opened. The dragon sat up when she saw the person that entered wasn't a doctor or a nurse, but Zinnia. Relief flooded through her at the sight of her little sister. She was alive and safe. Zinnia, she said as she adjusted herself. The younger girl took one look at her sister and rushed over. There was a relief visible on her face. Light, oh my goodness, you're awake, Zinnia exclaimed with excitement. I should tell someone, or wait, I should stay. Before Zinnia could continue rambling, Light reached out and gently took a hold of her sister's hands. She held them in a gentle yet firm grip. Her hands shook, though she tried to ignore it. I've been seen to, Little Flower. I've been seen to, Little Flower. You can sit and relax, the dragon said in a soft tone of voice. She wanted to reassure the younger girl that she was all right for the most part. She did have some aches and pains, maybe a headache, but she was all right otherwise. Light watched as Zinnia sat on her bed. She felt a pang of guilt when she saw worry in her sister's pink eyes. She did her best to push that guilt down. Are you all right? She asked before the younger girl could speak. Were you injured? Nope, just some scrapes. You're the patient this time. The dragon let out a fond huff. She pulled Zinnia into a tight hug. She released her sister a moment later and leaned back. The two talked for a time before Light finally shooed her sister away. She needed time to herself, to think, to plan. She needed to make herself new legs and a new home for Etheria, MTK. She had a lot of things to do, and she needed some silence to think of everything. If she did this to not worry about SUNC and her dad, she made no acknowledgement of it. Poor Light. Poor everyone. If only this, if only someone had not done this. Terrible, Who could have done such a thing? Frog video. Oh my god, updated. Fire. This is crazy. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Captain Owens of the SPNS Petra. I'm here to give a summary of what happened on the surface of Solace in the past week and instructions on how we will proceed and how the Navy is here to help. I will also be open to questions at the end. At 12:46 hours on May 31st, the SPNS Cabo detected a new ship in orbit around Solace. Its name is the Euclid, a civilian freighter. Scans revealed there was only one life sign on board. Captain Pilato made the decision to send a medical team to offer assistance, and only a few minutes after they entered the ship— I probably should have spelled out Pilato. It's P-O-L-A-T-O. I probably never made the attempt to spell it. They lost contact. Captain Pilato ordered a security team to follow. My bad, Frog. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. And contact was lost with them as well. After speaking with Admiral Friedrich, the Cabo was given full clearance to fire on the Euclid. All rounds fired at the Euclid vanished as they approached the hull, which we would normally assume is due to an advanced point defense system. However, no such system was detected on the Euclid. The Euclid then fired back at the Cabo and destroyed and/or damaged multiple systems, knocking the ship out of orbit. All crew were instructed to abandon ship, and all 3 lifeboats were deployed. The captain of the Cabo remained aboard to try and slow the ship down before it crashed. The Cabo crashed in the middle of a population center on Solace and destroyed everything within a large radius. The impact crater is roughly 5 kilometers long by 1.5 kilometers wide. Anyone who has been impacted by this event can speak to any Navy officer for assistance. We have medical tents set up over there, as well as resources for food, water, and shelter being prepared. If you have any questions, please line up in the center aisle. Just complete silence. Or if there are no questions, then we can end this meeting as it is. If people need a few minutes to think, that's also fine. You're getting the awkward, I will be around for questions if you have them after the meeting, or you can contact Admiral Friedrich. All right, meeting adjourned. Incredible. The link. All right, what is it? What is this link? Flashbang. I'm sorry. Okay. What was this hidden link? Aha. You aren't meant to see this! Don't mind the title. He snapped his fingers, and Two Knights stepped forward and grabbed Balios by the arms, restraining him. Though I have just one condition, I'll need your skin. And don't worry, it won't be painful. Not another people! Stop stealing people's skin! I don't mean I'm ripping your skin off. I'm a monster, not a devil. Adahim lifted his and placed it over Balios' face. Soon Adahim's skin began to turn the same shade as the other. His body began to shift into the same build with the same scars, and with the same hair just pulled into a bun. And his attire stayed the same. It took you 4 hours to edit the video. Oh my gosh. Please take care of yourself first. Like prioritize your well-being over editing videos. I'm tempted to re-upload this video with corrections and the character background music I forgot to add. Ooh. You're taking breaks? Okay, good. Don't overdo it. Please take care of yourself. He was making himself Balios' doppelganger and even made a copy of Balios' memories and experience into his mind for his own use. Once done, Balios looked at himself, but it wasn't him. The smile was too eerie, and the mask over his eyes too bright for someone to know the pain behind the reason he had to wear it. I thought this thing had his memories and experiences. Even with his eyes being somewhat healed, at least to the point of being able to see figures and small details. I guess it's time for you to go home. Send him to the pit. Trash belongs where the rest of the forgotten trash are. The Adahim, now looking at the Balios, turned to the side wall. Adahim opened a portal to Solace and went through. Once through, he looked around his surroundings. Solace smelled of fire and death. A reminder of his first planet, but his surroundings looked as if someone had dug their hand through a cake, a big swipe of Earth gone. So wait, there's a Balios and a copy of Balios now? Oh my gosh. That's perfect, actually. Alright, from CJ. What can I do? Careful there, bud. I got it, using my sleeves. The rubbery creature that was a jellyfish slid from Kron's covered hands back into the water, the waves carefully carrying it further out to pulse mindlessly through the currents of the deep. Kron watched it go as sea foam lapped around their knees, the back of their coat shifting atop the water and soaking it up into its fabric. Their hands emerged from their cover, rubbing together the stinging that had managed to reach their skin, to numb the stinging. Their attention searching the water surface to make sure nothing else was floating above or nearing land when it wasn't supposed to. The new moon reflected across the stretching ocean, drawing the masked creature's attention upwards like a moth to a flame. The shape's reflection contorted and stretched with each ripple of the waves, the white lines widening the further out the light reached. The creation of the moon was sudden, the reason and cause for its existence unknown. They didn't even know what a moon was before this. Seeing one now and the effect of it on the planet held their fascination in a vice. Kron, come back to me on land. You'll be soaked. Kron perked up at the familiar voice before turning to look over their shoulder, spotting the figure that had followed them standing at the edge of the shore, his helmet held beneath his arm against his hip. Without a second thought, they shifted and splashed their way back to the land with tall, exaggerated steps, the weight of the seawater gripping the fur of their hooves and almost sending them toppling into the water head first. But a pair of ghostly hands caught them beneath their armpits before they could, lifting them up without an issue, their shoulders bouncing with laughter. Hi, Croy! Yeah, Adam is pretending to be Balios, hence why he's getting therapy. Oh, that's funny. Have to remove the nautical tag. A small breath escaped the ghost as he set the other onto their feet, water dribbling down from their legs into a small puddle around their feet that soaked into the sand. Hello, Kron. The jellyfish was okay? Yep, just Sandy. It's back home now. The enthusiastic confirmation earned them a gentle ruffle on the head, messing up their hood and their long hair beneath it. They let out a puff and pushed the stray strands out of the way of their eye holes of their mask, plopping themselves down on the edge of a rock. They watched Croy crouch down beside them with the helmet returned to his head, his hands clasping together beneath his chin. Kron didn't really know why Croy decided to start wearing armor, especially when he couldn't actually get hurt or killed. And besides, the armor was just his tar, not actual metals that could defend him. Again, not like the ghost needed it. He was so strong after all. Maybe it was just a comfort thing or an idea that he decided to try. It was something he started after seeing Light in the hospital, awake this time. Kron didn't know what they talked about. They gave his dad and sister space to chat. It was short. Croy was out of the tent less than 10 minutes later. I managed to get that doll of yours almost completely fixed. I just need to find a light to put on in his head. They pulled from their thoughts and watched as Croy retrieved the doll he was referring to from the void that was his eye, the shape widening to make sure the toy didn't get stuck. Kron gently took it from Croy's outstretched grasp with both hands, bringing it up close to their face. The doll was a scuba diver. They remembered Croy had explained that to them when they showed it to him. There were small stitches across the body which they found with their thumb, feeling the thread, the slight indents here and there. It still had that rustic, coppery appearance, which Kron was glad of. They hated the idea of the gift being completely redone. It felt rude to them. They shifted the doll to sit in their lap, its head bobbing over to the side with the weight of the helmet. They didn't bother trying to adjust it. Thank you, Modide? I hope I said that right. I'll help you find the light if you want. That would be nice. A little adventure, but not for right now. Croy's response was met with a nod of understanding, the ghost's attention staring up towards the moon, his ears twitching to the rhythmic swash of the waves climbing up the shore. Kron followed his father's gaze, squinting to the blurry light from behind their mask until they grew bored and flopped backwards on the rock with an exaggerated huff. Moyad. Okay, sorry. The doll almost mimicked them, its head falling back against their stomach. As the silence stretched on once more, comfortable yet weighted, Kron's mind wandered. Their mind didn't care about the lateness of the night when it came to thoughts, to memories. There are so many new ships on Solace now, all from the same place, all bearing the same symbol, including the one that had fallen. They remembered how loud it was, how windy it became, trees and leaves and dirt flying. They and Croy had just been trying to fix Kindlegrim. Did we need more? They held up a lump of stone they were just about to place into the ground. The palms of their hands were stained a dark purple, almost black from the dust of clearing crumbled walls. When Croy didn't immediately respond from across the other side of the man-made cavern, Kron got up from kneeling on the ground, their legs sore from sitting on them for a long time. Croy! Moyad! Or Ayad? Because this was Mo? Is it the same? No, it's different. It's different. It's different. How do you say this one? There's an H in this one. Croy jumped. Oh, yeah, I said it? Okay. Croy jumped a little when Kron shouted to him, having been standing at the edge of the weird portal near the entrance, lost in thought. A piece of rubble fell from the hole. Same pronunciation. Okay. Same, like Moyad? Not Ayad? A piece of rubble fell from the hole in the ceiling due to the vibrations of the shout's echo. It hit an already shattered lamp on the ground, scorch marks from extinguished fire surrounding the long, dead light source on the carpet. Sorry, Kron, what is it? Kron held the piece of stone up above their head like a rare find, almost losing their balance with the weight of it being swung up above them. We need more? Question? They heard Croy laugh at their antics, which they were partly aiming for. When they got a thumbs up, they spun around on their heel with a small dramatic flare, the stone still held over their head, and marched off towards the entrance to a corridor leading to the storage rooms. Moyad is just my dad. Ayad is just dad. Ah, okay. That's what I figured. They grinned proudly when they heard Croy laugh again. They were glad that they were helping their dad be happy again. At least it seemed like they were. They hoped they were. They let out a breath as they let the stone down, holding it across their forearms in front of them instead, now that they were just out of sight. They kept up the march, however, just lessened the exaggeration of their steps and kept a better eye forward. They let past the unfinished walls, the black stone slowly degrading into andesite and gravel like a void caught mid-consumption, leaving only the shadows to continue forward. The lanterns of warm light that somehow never died out dangling from iron chains were replaced by torches on the brink of death that were barely holding out of the walls they were mounted to. Scaffolding piles blocked an unfinished entrance, more creating an arch across the ceiling from the wall to their right. They quickened their steps a little when they walked underneath it, as if it was holding the ceiling up and could crumble at any moment. They shook their head and faced forward once again. They were being paranoid. They needed to stop. It had just been bad after what happened with Marana. Sure, they always felt as if they were being observed in the grove of Kindlegrim, and yes, they befriended 2 box heads that watched them from a meter or 2 away for God knows how long when they first met. But the thought of her being anywhere near them, ready to kill them and put their head into the hands of that statue of herself, the image of Melena's head already. Their hip bumped into the wall while mid-thought, spiking their attention back to the present, to which they recognized the giant wall of chests piled up to the ceiling and conquering the corner of the hallway, just as it turned into a dead end. They never knew who this all belonged to. They never thought to ask. and what they assumed was the name of the person who owned the stuff that had long faded from the signs secured to the front of the containers. They stepped forward and were just about to search for the blackstone they needed when a hand suddenly grabbed them. Kron! They nearly jumped out of their skin until they realized it was Croy, and urgency in his voice. His comms device was blaring with an alarm sound along with Kron's, both in the ghost's free hand. Warning. Kron, come here. We have to go now. They didn't question him. They dropped the stone and wrapped their arms around his neck, their hooved legs soon around his waist as their weight was lifted from the ground. Wind rushed past with their dad's quickening pace, the hallway whizzing by in a blur when Kron's eyes didn't focus on a singular point. A rumbling had begun to grow before they even realized it started. The creature was coming from near and angry, so very angry. They had no choice but to face back the way they came as they were carried. They saw the mound of fire, the mountain caving in around it. Croy! They managed to scream just as darkness blocked their vision, but not the kind they feared. Their head was tucked under Croy's chin, like the ghost was trying to shield his child even more than he already was. A brief moment of stillness. Do not let go of me. The world outside the bubble of tar erupted in violence, punishing even within this shield. Metal cried and screeched in agony, gusts of fire clawing for them from the outside. They were thrown and bashed, treated like a rock in a tide. It hurt like hell, but neither let go. And then it was all over, like nothing happened at all. Kron? They hadn't realized they had closed their eyes. Were they asleep? Was that all a dream? They opened their eyes and lifted themselves up halfway. They saw their dad. They saw their dad and the moon. Not a dream. They sat up with a grunt, their hand reaching up to trace their fingertips over their lower back. Their skin flinched at the contact to the bruises. Definitely not a dream. Is your back hurting again? They shook their head, even though they knew Croy could tell they were lying. He always did this specific pose whenever he was about to call Kron's bluff. If he wasn't already crouching, he'd get down to that position, lean a little forward, and cross his arms on the tops of his knees. He'd tilt his head upwards to look at Kron directly, only slightly. Croy was fairly tall, after all. There wasn't too much of a difference when he crouched. I can get you a potion of healing, Kron. It is not a problem. Kron let out a small huff as Croy shrank down, their own arms crossing tightly over their stomach. The action didn't hold a grudge to it, though. They knew their dad was trying to understand. They reminded themselves to keep that in mind for anyone most of the time. I can make one in about 5 minutes. Dad, what can I do? The question was vague. It held a pause, like on a questionnaire where someone was taking a moment to type before entering their answer into the system. The ghost's ears twitched in thought as their son continued. I'm not doing anything. Yes, you are. We can never not do anything. You're breathing right now, are you not? To be helped, Dad. They looked up and took a few steps away, their hands shoving into their pockets for a brief moment before taking them out again. They were still trying to get used to the new coat. They prompted to fidget with a brooch on their jumper instead. Every person else looks to be help. The lady from the captain's funeral, Mrs. Judge, you too. You're making a shield faction to help. I don't know how to do same. Kron turned back to face Croy, just to see him standing now, a few feet of distance between them. Standing still, a little haunched. The scuba diver doll now in his hands. It must have fallen when Kron stood up. Kron, you do not need to have any idea now. No one is demanding it of you, and no one will. Kron caught sight of Croy's hand cupping the side of their face, encouraging them to look at him properly. They didn't want to do it at first, but soon leaned into the touch they couldn't feel, a small sigh escaping them. But before they could mutter an apology, Croy continued, his other hand placing the doll into Kron's grip with a small squeeze. You are doing so much already, Kron. You living, existing as you are, is helping more than you realize. What you decide to do, even if it does not involve helping, will come with time. Time you have and is your decision to use. A brief pause came that was only interrupted by the soft sound of swash reaching up on the beach. Then Kron's arms reached forward as they felt themselves be urged closer to their father, embracing him tightly, as tight as they wanted. Croy's face leaned against the top of their head with a gentle sigh, which could have ruffled their hair, his arms wrapping around their shoulders, tucking their relaxing body against the safety of his chest. It will be okay. We will figure this out together. I'm so happy that Kron and Croy are back together! Yippee! Hello, Comet! Welcome back! The first Not a Dream was a small hope that the thing with Marcelo didn't happen? Wait. Oh, when they realized the moon. Oh, this is sad. The moon is to, like, Freya made the moon as like a reminder. When she sees it, she's reminded of how much she loved Marcello and how much he loved her. But I feel like for so many other people, it's just a reminder of the terrible stuff that's happened on Solace. You have to go and vote? Oh, good for you. From Lucky, a way to start over. The crash. Moments of panic, running, people getting hurt, and she missed it. Lucky had been at her home during the moments of the wreck, and due to being so far away, all she was able to know was something big had hit Solace as the ground trembled under her during the moment. Never in all her days would she think that when she made her way closer to the more populated areas that they would be completely destroyed. And she wasn't there to help them. Her friends, her loved ones, Light, all of her. Days after the crash. Today was like any other. Those new people who said they were here to help were interesting, to say the least. Lucky mostly kept to herself, as usual, looking for a place to start anew and help others get back on their feet. But the biggest part of her days consisted of visiting the injured. Inside, she would check on the patients, try to cheer them up with some juggling that Oliver had taught her. Make them laugh. It's the best medicine, was what he'd always told her. If only he were here now. She was happy to bring some smiles into the others' days, but what she was most focused on was one quiet Anasir who laid still for far too long for her liking. One evening, as she made her way to the tent, she walked by Zinnia and gave her a kind nod before entering. Lucky made her way to Light, setting down some wildflowers as was routine and beginning to recall the many events that had happened for her, hoping that she could be heard. I've set up a tent a little ways from here. It's small but cozy. There's many new faces. You would like it. The goat was busying herself with putting the flowers in a vase, her back turned away. There was a subtle twitch of Light's ears as she opened her eyes. She looked towards Lucky, a knot of anxiety loosening in her chest. The dragon slowly sat up and reached out to touch Lucky's arm. They are pretty, she said softly, not wanting to startle the satyr. Lucky glanced over, a small smile reaching her face as tears attempted to fall. You're awake. The goat gently reached out, hugging her tight. Light returned the hug, her holding just as tight. I am awake, she said softly, and I'm glad that you're all right. Of course, the crash wasn't big enough to reach my home. I'm sorry I wasn't there. The satyr stood back up, adjusting her coat and giving another smile. Have you been up long enough to hear about what's happened? The dragon nodded, her ears drooping slightly. Honestly, it was the first thing I thought of when I awoke, she said softly. I wasn't sure if you, Kron, Croy, or Zinnia were safe. I still have my worries, but I've seen my siblings and Papa to know they are all right. At least in a better condition than I am. I don't know what happened to SUNC, nor what effects the crash had on it. I wasn't told if anyone had checked before everyone left the area. Lucky sighed. I'm not sure if anyone did, to be honest. If you'd like to, we could go together once you're ready. I think everyone's just been trying to get back on their feet and getting used to the Solpak Navy being around. There are quite a lot of them. Light nodded in understanding. At least they're here to help us, she said softly as she shifted her gaze to the doctors and nurses around the tent. Gods know we need it, especially now with the crash. The dragon sighed softly and shifted her gaze back to Lucky. She offered a small smile. There was enough, though there was a sad hint to it. I'd go to see how the facility is, but she trailed off, her hand moving to rub what remained of her legs as if they still ached. I have other things to worry about. My faction, my siblings, you. I just have to have faith that things are all right there. Lucky nodded, reaching out to place her hand on Light's shoulder and attempt to comfort her. I understand, but you know you don't have to do anything by yourself. The satyr glanced outside before taking a deep breath and focusing on the dragon once more. I want to help. I'm tired of keeping to myself and feeling like I'm not there for everyone. Your faction, family, and whoever needs it, I want to help them. I want to help you. Lucky slowly pushed her hair back with her hand, trying to think. You guys just mean a lot to me, and I don't want you to try to do everything by yourself. The dragon seemed to relax. She smiled up at Lucky, her tail wagging. Thank you, Lucky, she said with a more happy smile. Truly, I would appreciate your help. She reached up and placed a hand over Lucky's own. I think that I'll take you up on that offer, especially while I recover. Lucky smiled before goofily saluting. Well then, boss, I shall be around when you need me. She walked over to the tent opening before looking back. Get some rest. You deserve it. I love Lucky and Light. All of my favorite characters are coming back. It's like I'm in the new season of my favorite show. Adolin knows it's childish. She knows it won't bring her brother back, but oh, doesn't it feel good to take her anger out on something? Besides, who's to stop her? It's not like Freya is around to see this. And she's got a bone to pick with a certain entity at the bottom of a certain pit. Or what Adolin was up to just before the crash. Oh? Oh? Did she burn the cathedral? Or like the building? The whatever it's called? The monastery? Oh my gosh. I can hear like an evil like laugh with this. Let's have a chat, God to God, shall we? That's so scary! Oh my god! That's the most terrifying thing I've ever heard. Rumble. Oh, is that Casimir's grave? Or no, that's Adolin still. Oh, right, because that was in the line of the crash. That was on the mountain. Ooh. I hear beef. Hello, beef. Have you come to say hello? Come here. Hello. People want to see beef? We can have beef cam. Here's beef. Oh, hold on. I have my own little thing here. Hello, beef. Sorry, beef kind of stole the show. Was Adolin, like, burning everything? I guess, like, you know, kind of overdid it a little. Hello. Meow. You're just gonna chill there? Alright. What do you want? What do you want? She's just being nosy. A missing poster! Hold on, I gotta adjust this. Maybe like this. Wait. Like this. Trying to make it so that everything fits in here, you know? Oh, of course beef leaves. Well, no, she's just scratching her scratching post. Alright. Missing poster. Tall, but not like 6 foot kind of tall. Wears a jug. Has a cool jacket and black pants. Pretty old, so maybe confused, but he's still nice. Missing Waters, last seen at SUNC. Please report any sightings to members of the Peacekeepers. Beef just left. Okay. Bye, Beef. She's just coming to say hi. That's meant to be Waters? Oh, that's so funny. Oh, you didn't know that was Waters? Of course, look, that's Waters. It looks like Waters to me. Oh, goodbye, the crash. I feel like naming the memorial for the crash, The Crash. Maybe a little... Maybe a little, I don't know. Maybe call it Memorial for those we lost during the K-boat incident. I don't know. Goodbye, The Crash. So much is happening. Oliver walked home, humming a song from a tune he didn't remember knowing. Everything was quiet for once. Quiet in general, and somehow quiet in his head, too. He'd just gotten back from his quest Violence had sent him on to retrieve the potion Oliver had asked for, the one to fix him. After drinking it, his head felt so much lighter. For the first time in forever, it felt like he could think clearly. Like he could say or do anything and it wouldn't matter. Oliver hadn't seen Violence since then. He wanted to thank him, but he hopes Violence just knows how thankful he is. Violence may be trouble, but he's still Oliver's cousin and is always there when Oliver needs him. I think this is the second time that I've just gone off onto some random trip. He laughed softly to himself. I've really got to stop just leaving my pets in Lucky's care. The circus pups probably miss me. The path eventually brought Oliver back to what used to be the circus, his home. The minute it came into view, his steps slowed. The circus was gone. Nothing was left but a ravine of burnt wreckage and a couple of blue and red balloons floating above the grounds. Some loose fabric from the tent laid on the ash like leaves. Oliver stood frozen. Wait. What happened? His voice was barely above a whisper, but loud in the quiet around him. The circus, it's gone. He'd breathe a gasp of air out. It's all gone. Then something would click. A realization that should have been the first thing on his mind. A punch to the chest. Wait, the pups. His breath would quicken. The pups! They were in my house! No, they were smart pups. Maybe they escaped. Maybe someone helped them. Maybe. Surely. Oliver would search frantically through the ruins. He'd call out, hoping that they would respond, even just a few, just a bark. A faint yip would echo from beyond the burnt trees. A white dog, now gray from ash, limped towards Oliver, tail wagging softly despite it all. Oliver would drop to his knees, hugging the dog. With trembling hands, he'd brush the ash from the dog's collar until the name tag was legible. Cake. His shoulders would sag in relief as he gently petted the injured pup. Good boy, Cake, good boy. Are you hurt? It's okay, it's okay. Oliver would sigh. At least you survived. That's all that matters. The impact. That's true. The impact instead of the crash. I feel like impact is way better than crash. No dogs were harmed in the crash. Yes, everyone. Like if you're a character, a person, you're toast. All animals survived. The dog does not die in Smileless and P Season 7. The next doc is unresolved. Thank you. Yeah, I need to go to the bathroom after this one, so I will do that, and hopefully it's resolved like that. Otherwise, I will just not read it. Oliver would sit in silence for a minute before standing and slowly walking towards the remains of the circus tent. From the debris, he picked up a torn piece of red fabric. He stared at it for a long time before ripping it messily in half. Carefully, he tied the strips into braids on either side of his head. Memories, he muttered quietly. He looked down at Cake. Now let's go figure out what the hell is going on. A worried smile crossed his face. And I guess find a new home, too. The two wandered back down the path to find anyone who knew what was happening. But it was so silent. At first the silence was peaceful, but now it just felt wrong. Eerie. Oliver winced suddenly as a sharp headache hit him. I'm okay, Cakes. He'd press his thumb against his temple. I think that potion just isn't settling well. The pain persisted. There's no time to worry about that right now. I have to make sure that everyone is okay. His voice went quieter. I can't believe that I was gone during all of this. I should have been here. They continued down the path, and Oliver tried not to think about the other pups. Tried not to picture all of them trapped in that house when that thing, whatever it was, went barreling through the circus. Each pup had meant something to him. They weren't just animals. They were family. They were like his children. And then, under his breath, quiet enough that only he could hear it, Oliver whispered something that he never would have said before. Something that felt so unlike him that he was even shocked at his own words. I'm going to kill whoever did this. Whether he truly meant it or not was something for the future to decide, but right now there wasn't a single lie in his voice. Eventually, Oliver stumbled upon a creek near the path, exhaustion finally catching up with him. I need to sit down. He knelt by the water, watching it flow in rhythm with his heart, the soft sound calming. Taking a shaky breath, he scooped up some water, splashing it onto his face. But when he looked down and caught a glimpse of his reflection, he froze. The eyes staring back at him weren't his. The swirling of the creek mirrored the patterns in his eyes. No pupils, just blue. Just spirals. One endless swirl in each eye. Oliver stumbled backwards slightly, landing on his butt in the mud. No. He rubbed his eyes frantically. No, it's nothing. It's fine. He looked back down again. I'm probably just seeing things. He'd look at Cake. Right, Cake? Just a side effect from the potion. Hallucinations or something. Right. Yeah. He knew it wasn't true, but he needed it to be. There were worse things to worry about right now. And besides, so what if the potion messed his eyes a little bit? It's not like it did anything worse than that. Foreshadowing. I just have to get out of here. Oliver forced himself onto his feet and kept walking, Cake limping loyally beside him. Oliver's eyelids felt heavy now. He considered stopping to rest again, but before he could, he noticed a figure standing in the distance. A person. Oliver would sigh in relief. Hello? Hey! He'd wave. I've been looking everywhere for someone. You have no idea. The figure turned around to face him, a look of confusion on its face. Oliver's heart stopped. That face. A bit older, a bit different, older, worn by time, but unmistakable all the same. The face that he used to sneak out just to see. A face he had laughed and smiled with. A face that he'd sit beneath the stars every night with. A face that he thought he'd lost forever. Pharos? His breath stopped. Is that you? He was certain that this was a dream, that none of this was real. But if it was a dream, Oliver never wanted to wake up. He rushed towards Pharos, reaching up and gently touching his face. As he turned Pharos' head, Oliver would pause. A large burn scar stretched across Pharos' left eye. What happened? What did they do to you? Oh, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I never should have brought you to my village. He'd remember the last time he saw Pharaohs. I knew the consequences, and I still... He'd stop himself. But you're here now. I can't believe it. You're here. You're actually standing in front of me, alive. Oliver would smile warmly. I thought I'd never see you again. I thought you'd... He'd shake his head quickly. No, never mind. All that matters is that you're here. I was on the way to do something. Something bad happened, and I needed to figure out why. Did you want to come with me? Oliver asked hopefully, but then a realization had dawned on him. Pharaohs hadn't said a single word. Oliver slowly tilted his head. Pharaohs? His smile lowered slightly. Are you okay? Pharaohs stared at him blankly. Then, without warning, he grabbed Oliver's wrists and pushed his hands away from him. Pharaohs' nose scrunched up in disgust, and with only a few simple words, he shattered Oliver completely. Who are you? No! The winds of amnesia! No! Alright. I will be back. I gotta go to the bathroom. Enjoy the new Be Right Back screen for a little bit. New art. Although I think there's only like 4 ones, so it'll... Whatever. I'll be back. Alright. We're back. I've been told to skip this one. Moving on to another Belios. Well, this is Zephyr, actually. There are too many people on this damn planet. And now flying boxes are falling from the sky and destroying everything. It's a good thing I abandoned MTK before anything happened, but now I can't be noticed. Although I stand out by my height, most might recognize me by the wings and mask. So they had to go. No, I didn't cut my wings off. I'm not an idiot. They're simply retracted, hidden from the eyes of unwanted people. And the mask was melted into a necklace. It's one of the last remnants of Zion. And though he betrayed me and I put a spear through him, he was still my best friend, a brother. But enough about the past. Right now, my focus is Belios. I have all the lesser god gems. I just need to make a forge, and then I can prepare my invention. Hopefully, by blending into the faction of Kindlegrim, I can use my creativity as a diversion of the actual plan. But that is all for now. I have to continue helping out here. Zephyr. Oh boy. Gems? Thanos? From Black Tea Poison! A new person! Let's go. I'm ready. This is real power, real strength. Let your fear carve one name into your brain. The name I share with this weapon is Poison. I will change this world for the better. The world needs to be fixed. This world will be fresh. Oh, I'm spooked. Dear Graham, didn't take too long after I landed on Solace for them to hold a meeting. Worried it was going to concern me, but all they talked about was some Navy ship crashing and destroying a bunch of their stuff. Guess some people didn't make it out in one piece. So much for this Holy Land you preached. Feels like I traded one oppressor for another, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I've got myself a nice little spot of land to make my home, nice and secluded. A little garden for food, using the escape pod for shelter. It's nothing big right now, but I'll be living comfortably one of these days. I do have a neighbor, unfortunately, some tower on a mountain. Haven't really met them, I don't plan to. What I do plan on doing is a little more exploring, get more of an idea of what this planet holds. I'll write you again if I find anything. Until then, stay safe, Graham. Rex backstory. Hello, hi! When I mentioned the humans were rare, I was meaning that there are currently only 2 human characters in the server. LOL, I love you, Freya! I see. Well, okay. In reality, on Solace, like, in canon, there are actually a lot of humans and Anathi, because, but, like, player characters, people can be whatever they want. People usually just make up their own stuff. But because this is near, like, still technically in the Soulpact Union, there are a lot of humans and Anathi. But yeah, only 2 human characters. I understand what you mean now. Thank you. Backstory. Trigger warning for dead body, no gore. Don't touch that. Just leave it alone. Vern had told him as they had come across his body in the cockpit. There was no blood or wound on the dead ship pilot. He seemed to have died in his sleep. He'd later find out it was lack of oxygen in the ship that had taken his life. The small ship had landed on the surface of Zorid 12 late last night. Rex and Vern lived there in that area and had touched down alone. Most airsats lived alone, the only exception being their offspring, in which Rex was to Vern through asexual reproduction. Interesting. They're like, there's like, don't starfish do that or something? Rex didn't call Vern father or mother, however. Vern was just Vern. Vern was also grumpy and unpleasant at times, like most airsats were. Airsats. They were territorial and stuck to themselves. When they weren't hunting, of course. Each burrow dug exactly 100 miles of one another, giving the planet's forest-covered surface hundreds of exactly spaced-out holes away from the large city in the west. Rex was 23 in Terran years. He was far past when he should have left home, his excuse being that no new burrows had opened up yet, that he was waiting for someone to pass away. This was a lie, of course. Unlike most airsats, Rex didn't want to live alone. As I was saying before, the ship had landed late the previous night, and Vern wasn't happy about it. The rumbling of the ship had shook the ground they lived beneath and collapsed in several tunnels they had both dug with their claws. Hard work ruined. When the morning came, the 2 airsats climbed from the burrow and went to investigate the shaking. I should have known it was a human, Vern growled after they had found the body inside the ship they forced into. They were already looking through the food supply, shifting and digging through everything hastily. Humans are the worst. They pollute everything with sound and garbage, messy, disgusting things. Rex stared at the dead man, scanned over his features one by one with his black, wet eyes. The man's hair was brown and his eyes were shut. He'd never seen a human before today. He wondered why he had landed here. Maybe he'd never know. Should we bury him? Rex asked then. His voice wasn't masculine or feminine. He hadn't chosen what he wanted to mimic yet. Fern stuck up their head and scowled at him. Bury? Disrupt our dirt? They shook their head with a sticky sound. We'd forget about it. We? Rex asked. But we can't just leave it. Sure we can, or at least I can. We will move to another burrow. But Rex tried. Listen, Spawn, if you aren't bothered by the large rumbling machine and the stinking human, you can stay here and I will go elsewhere. It is about time that you live how you ought to. Fear stung through Rex's body. No, please don't leave me. I can forget it. I swear I'll forget all about it, he insisted, pulling away from the body as if it were on fire. If he had to forget about it to not be left alone, he would gladly do it. Good. Now, there was sudden silence. Rex waited for Vern to continue, but they didn't. The cockpit of the ship was suddenly very quiet as Rex craned his neck to look around the corner where Vern had been. He was met with nothing. Vern? He called into the still air. Vern was gone. Rex wasn't ever told what had happened, but he could see the city from afar turn to panic. Explosions from the collisions of vehicles suddenly unmanned. The cries of wives and husbands and children calling for someone, each voice trying to be louder than the other, desperately wanting to be found first. Rex's voice joined them, but he knew he was crying in vain. The very few people actually describe what would happen during the Great Anomaly. Thank you. The Great Anomaly, the historians would call it, and it was happening everywhere. Rex's fear had come true, not only for himself, but for everyone else. He sat there for many hours, still and quiet except for the occasional sniffles and sobs. He didn't want to be alone. He didn't want to be without company. He didn't know who to blame except for himself. If he was like the other airsats, maybe he wouldn't have noticed. Maybe he wouldn't have cared. He got upright at last, his tendrils pulling him up as they braced on the cockpit chair. The human shell shifted, then fell forward onto the console hard with a loud thud. Rex yelped as the lights in the ship suddenly turned on. Loud sounds started to play. The rumbling returned to the ship. Takeoff imminent, the ship had said in a language that Rex didn't understand. He could only assume that the planet was about to look a lot smaller. No! Rex tried to push the heavy body off the control panel, but as they pushed the body, that only activated more buttons. Rex was screaming profanities in fear at this point, ones that only airstats knew. Airsats! Sorry. Lesbian frogs? Enlighten me. Research. Put it on my desk by tomorrow. Rex pushed the body the other way, trying to grab by the shoulders and pull back, and the body fell limp to the side, freeing the console. Good for them. Good for them. These frogs gay. Rex tried to push buttons frantically, trying to find out what was the right way to do this, and only finding the wrong way. Life jackets deployed, some sort of drink came out of a panel in the wall, splashing on him. The ship veered to the side, sideways, hurtling towards the ground. He panicked. If he landed on the ground, everyone would hear him and they'd be angry. What if someone's burrow completely collapsed from the impact? Rex grabbed the steering wheel, and with a great cry, the ship lifted away from the ground and up into the sky. It was then they were in orbit, and the ship finally calmed to a stop, leaving Rex feeling very shaken and scared. He had never been so high up, and despite the beauty of his planet below, he felt incredibly dizzy. How was he supposed to get down without crashing? He didn't know how this thing worked. He felt helpless up here. Airsats were never supposed to fly, let alone leave their planet. He tried to look for anything else that would help him get back down. A manual, maybe? He could learn this language fairly quickly. Airsats were known for their high intelligence when it came to copying and mimicking things. He rifled through the drawers. He could find no manuals, only finding pictures in the computer and personal belongings of the dead human still slumped over in the chair nearby. He looked them over. It was a photo of the human with what Rex could only assume was his family. He looked happy, smiling ear to ear, a cake in the center with children and elderly alike. Everyone in the photo looked glad to be there. Rex knew that Vern had never expressed happiness like that. He forgot about finding the manual for now, sitting down and rifling through more belongings, more pictures, pets and landscapes, friends putting drawings on skin. There was even a picture of the human kissing another person, making Rex gasp. He was suddenly invested in the life that this human had led before his untimely demise. He came across videos, too, audio logs, and the human sounded happy in every single one of them, like he was doing everything he wanted in life. It was through these videos that he learned the human's name, Elias. I'm going to drop off on Zora 12 tonight, Elias had told the camera. I should get to Ulthea by this time tomorrow. Can't wait to see you. Whoever he was talking to seemed to have meant a lot to him. Rex was filled with sadness at the sight of a blinking red light behind Elias, trying to notify him of the oxygen dropping. He wondered why no sound was playing to warn Elias. Maybe something was broken. Thankfully, Rex didn't need to breathe, so he was in no danger here. By the end, despite the sadness Rex felt for the loss of Elias's life, he found himself fascinated with human life. They stuck together. They had large families and groups of friends. Yes, they were sloppy at times, but they had fun. It was everything that Rex wished he had. He wondered if the same disappearances were happening on Terra, wherever that was, wondered if they were doing just as terribly as he was. They lived for companionship. What would happen to them when they realized their loved ones weren't coming back? Rex found himself crying again soon enough. He didn't want to be alone. He didn't want to be stuck up here. He wasn't sure on what to do. He'd learned so much in these hours. He learned a whole language, not to hunt, but to understand, and he was still stuck where he'd started. Getting up once again, Rex did the only thing that he could do. He gathered up the physical things of Elias's, then the body itself. He tucked the things into his shirt, and he pulled the body into an escape pod. Carefully, he laid the corpse in the center, gave it one last pat, then ejected it into space. Maybe his family would find it, maybe not, but he couldn't just leave the body on board to rot. Though he knew it was the right thing to do, Rex still felt even more alone. Quietly, he pulled himself up underneath the console and rolled himself into a ball. He shut his eyes, hoping that he'd come up with a solution or something would change by the time he woke up, then drifted to sleep. By the time Rex woke up, a long time had passed, as was usual of Airsat's sleeping habits, but what woke him was not of his own volition. A beeping sound was ringing through the cockpit, making Rex's body shake. He slid out from under the console to investigate, his tendrils searching the button in search of the one to stop the scary sound. Finally, he found it, and with a click, a hologram appeared. Rex shrunk back, scared of it, that it was perhaps a family member or a lover trying to speak to Elias. Seeing an airsats in someone's ship was never a good sign. Thankfully, they didn't seem to react to Rex's presence, and he figured it was a one-way message. He listened to the woman in uniform speak, but he didn't understand every word, but certain phrases like refugees and safe haven were things that he picked up. Solace is open to all who seek refuge, the woman said before she blinked and fizzled out of view. All are welcome. Rex didn't move for a long time after the silence settled. He mulled over the words again and again, trying to understand what all she had said. A planet. They were taking in people affected by the disappearances. She'd claimed all were welcome, but did that really extend to him of all creatures? A race of mimicking meat-eaters? He feared that if he were there, he would be killed to protect those that lived there. He wasn't a danger, but he could see why some would assume. There was nothing but bad stories surrounding his people. But he wanted to go. He was scared to be left alone, scared to land and go back to his lonely life, to be stuck in orbit forever. He was scared, yet he felt he had a chance when Solace was mentioned. A chance at something new. A chance at friendship even. Something he'd always wanted but never knew why. But he couldn't go like this. Not with his tendrils and rows of teeth and big black eyes. They would see him and flee. He had to do what he was always meant to do. He looked back on the computer, searching through the pictures of Elias again and again. He grew skin, hair, fingers, and toes, a nose, a fake mouth that grinned. Yes, he was the perfect copy of Elias by the time he'd entered Solace's orbit, though there was nothing he could do to rid him of the seam down the middle of his body. He'd hoped that they would assume it was a scar. Scars form in perfectly straight lines sometimes, right? Of course, he had nothing to fear. Hello, I'm Rex. It's nice to meet you. He practiced in perfect English to himself as the ship landed at last. I hope we become good friends. I love this. This is so cute. It's just it's a guy wanted to be friends. Want to make friends. I can't wait to see what happens with Rex. Amazing. Fire react. From Purple Toad. Log date 0609. Well, this is an unfortunate mess. My planet got destroyed, my wings are broken, and now I'm on a different planet. Just great. What's worse is that since my wings are broken, I've had to adjust my legs, and it's been not fun at all. Adjust to my legs. I guess there's good news, however. I know of this planet. I studied it back on Valerie. Solace is its name, I think, and I was able to walk, well, stumble my way around until I came across this tent. The woman spoke about some sort of plane crash, and that other people have crashed, like myself, I guess. I guess my unconsciousness at that shore provided to be longer than I had thought. On other news, I came across some sort of organization called Kindlegrim. Well, I heard it from some of the residents in the area. They spoke about the group needing reporters and such for affairs within the faction itself. I think I'll go over there and ask if I can have a role. A scholar is basically a reporter, right? I just need to find their leader. Croy, I think was the name. I'll head for the faction in a day or so. I just have to hope these legs of mine can adjust quickly. No telling what or who could be dangerous. I'll report back when I've made a deal with Croy. End log. This is different from Froggy. I forgot what happened to Froggy at the end of last season, if anything. Yeah, we're all a big fan of Rex. I'm a big fan of Rex. I need to make fan art of Rex now. Cam finds someone in the wreckage. Anew. All one could see or smell in front of them was smoke. The crater is massive, unbelievably so, scorched earth and molten rock stretching on for miles and miles. Chunks of debris lay within the wreckage, pieces of metal hull and wooden structures alike, some still smoldering after all this time. There was no telling exactly how much was lost in the crash, between the entire factions that were wiped off the map and any innocent lives caught in the crossfire. Tragedy couldn't even begin to describe this. Cutting through the thick layer of smog, Cam surveys the area, hovering over the impact site within the Polaris. Over the past week, he's traced and retraced the crater, searching for anything salvageable or anyone salvageable. God forbid someone gets left behind in the wreckage. Most of what remained was unsalvageable. That is, what remained of Solace. Torn pieces of metal, no doubt parts of the Cabo's hull, could be spotted lodged in mounds of soil. Cam doesn't busy himself with collecting them. That's the Navy's job, not his priority right now. He flies over what once was a mountain, jagged spikes of rock and melted snow, all that remains. Pieces of the mountain lay scattered across the surrounding land, adorned by fallen trees and charred flora. The land is uneven, parts of the hill flattened by the impact and piles of shrapnel rolling down towards the shore. Something black and toxic-looking seeps into the waters, trickling down from the crater. This was where the monastery once was, sat at the base of the mountain. Cam grimaces behind his mask as the memories come flooding back. He distantly wonders, hopes, even, if the entity was destroyed in the crash. If anything good were to come of this entire mess, it would be that. It's difficult to see through the thick, polluted air, but what used to be the pit is now even with the surrounding land, leveled out by the impact. Shards of stained glass and morsels of white concrete are littered throughout the area, and in the center of them sits... Wait, that can't be right. Cam squints his eyes, floating down to touch the surface. In the center of the crater, surrounded by heaps of debris, is something on fire. The strange part is that there's nothing left here to burn, everything flammable having been reduced to ash by now. As he approaches, he notices the flames flickering, but he also notices something else, something inside. It's a person. Cam scrambles to put out the fire, extinguishers streaming from his suit. Despite the barrage of CO2, the fire continues to roar, and Cam is seconds away from switching to water when the smoke clears and he sees her inside. Adolin, he mutters under his breath, now at a loss for what to do. Was she here this entire time? Had she taken a direct hit from the Cabo crash as it crash landed? Cam makes a mental note to never piss her off. He's not quite sure how to handle this, but after a moment of consideration, and calculating whether or not her magic would melt a hole in the Polaris armor, Cam reaches out to touch Ada's shoulder. And just like that, her eyes snap open. As Adolin gasps, jolting upwards, the flames surrounding her burst outwards and subside. She draws in deep, ragged breaths, her chest heaving. Cam says something to her, even snapping his fingers to catch her attention, but she doesn't hear it. All she hears is ringing. Then her eyes roll into the back of her head, and she's out like a light. Cam catches her before she hits the ground, cursing under his breath. Her clothes are nearly falling off of her form, incinerated either by the crash or by her own self-defense mechanism. Tossing her over his shoulders, Cam charts a course back to home base and takes off, trying his best to ignore the sensation of blood dripping down the plating of his armor. Adolin awakens to the sound of people talking around her. When her eyes slowly crack open, she's met with the ceiling of a white tent and the curious eyes of a person she doesn't recognize. However, the uniform they're wearing is branded with a symbol she's all too familiar with. She groans as she attempts to sit up, only to be met with a few frantic hands pushing her back down. One of them does belong to a familiar face, tired blue eyes and gentle features. Thank the gods that she's not alone with these Soul Pack sticklers. Whatever the Soul Pack medics say to her goes in one ear and out the other, but Cam's silent pleading convinces her to lay back down. The way he looks at her, she almost feels as if she's being scolded. The medics come and go, checking vitals and scribbling notes before scrambling out of the tent. It's glaringly obvious that they're afraid of her. Cam watches them go before turning towards Adolin, approaching her bedside. Do you know what happened? He cuts right to the chase, crossing his arms. Adolin pulls herself up, causing Cam to narrow his eyes at her. No, she answers after a moment, refusing to meet Cam's gaze. Even if he evidently doesn't know what she was doing before, she still feels guilt hanging heavy over her. Cam sighs, sitting himself at the foot of her cot. Well, let's start with what you remember. You were at the monastery, I presume? Ada nods. Great, so you were directly hit. He drags his hand down his face, massaging aching muscles. Hit by what? Adolin asks, finally meeting Cam's eyes. He hesitates for a moment before answering. A ship, the Cabo, crash-landed on Solace almost a week ago. A huge ship. We're talking about a nearly 5-kilometer-long crater. Multiple factions wiped off the map. Hell, I'm surprised you're even sitting here in one piece. He gestures towards her as he gawks, and as he continues to ramble on, Adolin's gaze falls down to her body. She feels, oddly enough, fine. Sore, but otherwise currently unharmed. Okay, here's my theory. My crackpot theory here. The entity has used Adolin to live. Also, you described it perfectly. Ross, you are always like the king of like knowing exactly the vibe. And like you just get it. All your lore is like you write it perfectly. It's great. You get it. But yeah, I think the entity and Adolin have become one. And it because she doesn't know here how she survived. She's like, that's odd. The entity protected her. Oh my god, it's the Wave Seeker all over again. But that's my thought. That's my thought here. She's wearing some sort of hospital gown-esque article of clothing, one that hardly contains all of her hair. Embarrassment creeps up on her at the thought of somebody seeing how unkempt her fur is underneath. In terms of injury, all that remains is the lingering feeling of lacerations that have recently healed, the tingling sensation of magic that courses through her veins and closes up her wounds. If she'd been unconscious for days now, it makes sense she'd have already healed herself. But by the gods, she just can't remember what happened. The memory loss, isn't that a thing with entity? But that's just a theory. A game theory. Okay. She remembers the fires and the mania and a loud rumbling sound and then nothing. Adolin? Cam's voice cuts through her thoughts and Ada realizes she's been staring at her hands. They're shaking. I should be dead. See? She realizes aloud, her words just above a whisper. By all means, she should be. Anyone else would have been reduced to a splatter against the Cabo's hull. But Cam reaches for her hands, holding them and looking at her in the eye. I'm glad that you aren't. He smiles at her, and she wants to smile back, but something stops her. A pang of regret stabs her in the chest, and she averts her gaze. A confession blossoms in her throat. She opens her mouth before closing it, searching for the right words. Cam, can I admit something to you? She asks, nearly pulling away from Cam's grip. He holds her still, a chuckle escaping him. As long as it's not that you murdered 5 children in the back of a pizzeria. Oh yeah, Cam lived around the time that like Five Nights at Freddy's 200 came out. She tilts her head in confusion and Cameron laughs. Yes, Adolin, you can tell me anything. She finally smiles and after a moment to collect herself, she meets Cam's eyes once more. I'm not doing well. Cam blinks before letting out a noise of disbelief. That's it? Jeez, you had me worried there. He squeezes her hands firmly. Ada, I haven't been doing well in a couple 100 years. Nobody's going to judge you for that. Adolin's cheeks begin to flush. She's never admitted that out loud before, but now she can't help but feel a bit silly. You've had a rough couple months, Ada. It's okay to not be okay. But you've got to keep on going. Sitting around and stewing in it only makes it worse. After a final squeeze, Cam rises, stretching his arms. Well, I've got more work to do. If you were still out there after all this time, who knows what else might be left. He extends a hand towards her. I know you probably feel like shit right now, but if you're up for it, we could always use another set of hands, especially ones that can fly. Helping people, that's right. That's why she stayed on Solace, why she's made all the choices she has. All she ever wanted to do was help people, and maybe in the process she can help herself too. She takes Cam's hand. Absolute cinema. That is my theory now. Okay. Pisser backstory! Sorry, Mikhail backstory. A little backstory, some initial feelings. Content warning for death and vomit. Solace day 1. I don't know what to do. My father lays in my arms. No heartbeat, no breathing, nothing. He was the one person who truly understood who I was. He was the only one who treated me like an actual living being and not just some freak. I feel like I've lost everything. It feels like nothing matters anymore. I grabbed him and left the ship, but I can't bring myself to explore the surrounding area. I feel like if I move 1 inch away from the radius of my ship, that I'll lose everything. My emotions are overwhelming, to the point where my body is trembling and vomit escaped my body. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. Father always guided me on everything. He even told me that he dreamed of a place where we'd both be accepted for who we are. He passed out just a couple hours before we made landing. Now he lays here in my arms, without ever getting to experience this place we dreamed of for so long. Father found me 10 years ago and raised me as his own. He even taught me how to fix ships, and even let me help on his own personal ship. Now that ship is here, in pieces, ruined beyond repair. Tears won't stop pouring down my face. My life feels as if it no longer has meaning. We had this dream together, and now I'm the only one who can live it. Why should I be happy to have my dream fulfilled when I lost the one who gave me this dream in the first place? What's the point of anything if he isn't with me to enjoy it? I don't know what to do, and even if people live here, I feel like I can't trust them. You know, having that name in the server is so funny. But fellow Piss to Ross, can I say your actual name here? I don't know. Pisser, I feel like, whatever, is a friend of mine. And I helped him come up with, like, this character and everything. And, like, you know, but, like, I am really impressed by this. I didn't know you had this type of writing in you. Good job. I'm very proud of you. I'm excited to see what happens to Mikal. And we already watched this. This will be read next week. Because, this was posted after the thing. It had to be reviewed. I know that, like, technically you posted it before, but if it has to be, like, reviewed and denied and then re-uploaded, whatever, I'll read that next week. Also, because my throat is hurting like hell. Great first Lore Tuesday. This was fun. I'll be, what doc are we on currently? The last one. Sorry, Oliver. I read yours a while ago. Oh, the music's been muted this entire time. I'm so sorry. Someone should have told me. I think we should all search for Magos. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about Magos. Where is he? I can't wait. You guys, the crash was just the beginning. I'll tell you that. The crash was just the beginning. Just you wait. Mangoes. This was a banger Lore Tuesday. And I want to know, for my Europeans, I know this is much better for you. I used to do it like 4 hours later. Back in the last season. Is this a better time for all of you? I know some of you like have work. I could push it like an hour later so that it's like 5 o'clock Eastern, so like people are getting off work around then. Maybe that would be better for people. Solace will explode at the end of the season. Damn it, you called it. You called it. Freya eats Solace and everyone on it. But yeah, just wait. My favorite character so far, I really like Astra's new character. I really like Rex. Rex is gonna be like fan favorite. I can tell right now. I really like Mikal, of course. Obviously, like I like all the characters that I've already known before, but like I have new characters that I'm meeting here. Yeah, some really good ones. I'm so excited. Scarab 53 leads a faction and saves the planet. Scarab 53 is the one that blows up the planet, actually. To save everyone. An hour later is fine? Alright. I'll do like a poll, maybe. Because I want to know, like, obviously I know most of my audience is in America. But I feel like I owe it to the Europeans to do it a little bit earlier when I can. Because I got, Pomio is covering for me. Because we work at the same place. Yippee! But for Tuesdays. So I can have Lore Tuesday. So make sure to send her a big thank you to make it possible for me to stream Lore Tuesday at a normal time. Because normally I'd be at work at this time. So yeah. An hour later is lovely? Okay. Because yeah, I feel like people, when I was looking at the chat, most people were coming in like an hour later to be like, hey, you know, I finally got off work or whatever. I might do that. As long as it's okay for the Europeans. Because normal Lore Tuesday usually goes 2 to 3 hours. It's 5 to 8. Anyway. I will be on the server. I have some things to do. And then next Lore Tuesday, Yeah, we have also the, hold on. This thing, this is the next like big event that's coming up, June 12th, which is this Friday. If you'd like to be a part of that, that's gonna be an in-character event. And I don't know if I'll be there. Well, I'll be there, but I don't know if I will be there in character. I may be in spectator, depending on if Caitlin shows up or not. Because Freya's not on Solace right now. Alright, I'll see you all next week.